Where do you think they're going to place if you don't think they're going to do as well?
I want to say they're not going to qual globals, honestly.
Wow. Wow.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the FNtasia podcast. We are here with episode 16. Are we on 16 now?
I can't count that high.
Yeah. It's hard. Trust me, it's hard. Semi-finals just happened. Lots of fun stuff over the weekend into grand finals. The plan for today is we are just going to talk about grand finals predictions. We're going to talk a bit about semis right now, and then it's grand finals bracket. If you were here last season, you know how we did this last season. We had a bracket filled with all the teams, not all the teams, but most of the teams in grand finals, and we'll talk about which ones we think are going to place higher, blah, 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 blah. Guys, semi-finals, react. What were your thoughts? How did you guys feel about this season's FNtasia semi-finals?
I mean, the teams that the actual teams that qualified was interesting to me. The gameplay for the first 15 minutes of every game, that might be a little bit less interesting watching teams just sit on cacti's trading surge every game. But no, overall, I thought it was a good weekend. I thought that the gameplay was enjoyable for the most part to watch, and I just thought it was pretty good. No real problems at all as well.
Everything basically went as expected, you know, as my predictions last season. The power rankings that I had last season.
Yeah, see, even you said
everything
predictions
was on par. Every single team made it through. The true power rankings were set out. I agree with Harry. It was a little bit stale for the first parts of the game. Honestly, the format, I think, is a little bit overdone now. You know, I'm happy to be done with this format for the year, and I hope for a lot of different changes because, at a certain point, you just know that you're qualifying in round number 2 or round number 3, right? Even if you don't win a game, it's kind of hype to win a game, and then you have some, pretty excited players. Although it doesn't really matter because they're making it to the top 25 anyways. So everyone qualifies anyways. There's not many surprises, which I think we need sometimes.
I feel like we get enough surprises. There weren't any huge ones, but none of us actually want one of the top 5 teams to fail to get to grands.
Oh, I do, absolutely.
well, Anderlecht didn't make it, so that's one of the top 5 teams. But
True.
Yeah. It's weird because being a viewer, at times the weekend definitely was not the most satisfying to watch. And I like what you said there of this semis format. I feel like is now played out. I feel like at first people were very receptive to it, and it was like, oh, this is cool, this is right. Yeah. It means that we get all the best teams in grands because for the most part, we do. We get most of the best teams in grands that should be in grands. But yeah, I am also glad I don't have to watch this format now for at least 7 months. Hopefully it changes next year, so we just don't watch it again. Maybe we need
32 reboot rounds. Why not?
It always changes every year.
True. I do feel like they are good with changing things up for semis formats, or maybe they're just trying to find one that works. And that's what's taking.
Bring back the old format. Bring back the old 4 heats and everything.
Yeah, heats 4 lobbies was prime Fortnite. Always.
That does feel like prime Fortnite. I'm sure Kinch has some explain of why it was a terrible statistic.
Why is it dumb?
Tell us why it was bad, Kinch. Go on.
Oh, it's just bad to expect someone to come top 5 out of 50 teams to call to grands. There's too much at stake on those few games for the top teams.
Yeah, but
they can just get contested. And they get caught.
True.
But boo-hoo.
That's what I'm saying.
If you don't qualify top 5 in the set lobby, you don't deserve to be in grand finals. And you get a few reboot rounds as well.
Five people land on me, and I didn't call top 5. It's my fault.
Pick a better spot, man. There's so many
win off
jobs
spawn
there.
But that's why they got conned, because they picked a better spot. That's why they were triple conned. No, I get that.
There were good things about that for sure. I think that sort of thing, but with a few tweaks. I'd love to see the idea of a little head start based on series points. That'd be pretty cool.
Ooh, we've never tried anything like that.
Who let him cook?
Wait, you might have just cooked up.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
Actually,
so what? Like a point head start. So you start the tournament with more points because you had more series points.
Within each heat, you have your 50 teams. You rank them on series points. The top guy starts on 50 points or something. The next one starts on,
Wait.
I don't know.
What if the format wasn't like the leaderboard after 5 games, but you have to reach a certain points threshold plus that lead. So you have like teams going up and down the points. You have to reach like 100 points or something to qualify to grand finals.
I don't know if you're
he didn't like that one.
Yeah,
I know what happens if that takes a long time? We're games
gonna take a long time.
Yeah, we're not watching 10 games of the same finals lobby.
Yeah,
But no, actually, might cook though. Like more series points mattering. Like,
yeah, no, that'd be.
I'm here for
maybe
it.
be
I
interesting.
think the problem with points thresholds like that, Boop, is that you get like the best teams, they're done in 1 or 2 games, and then nobody wants to watch the later games because there's no good teams in it.
True. You did mention there not being many surprises, Harry, I think, but we did have a couple surprises in terms of people who didn't make it through to grand finals in EU specifically that you probably would have thought would have made it. For the people wondering, we are going to do NA as well, but we're going to cover NA a bit later. We've got Vivid coming in to talk NA with us because we've not had Vivid on the pod yet, and he really wanted to get on. Like, he was dying to get on. Don't tell him I said that, but he was really eager to get on. And for some of the names we had, I think you DM'd me some of them. So we had the likes of iDrop and Haris not make it through to Grands, which was, a point of contention on the last podcast we did. We had Sangil and Marius, fan favorite Marius, not making it through. For Stroke and Robban, who were top 10 last grand finals, didn't make it through. Cringe and Volko, again, another team that had looked really strong this season, not making it through to Grands. In terms of some of the surprises, was there anyone that you were really shocked didn't make it through? And, what next for a lot of these duos who probably were good enough to make it to Grands, you would have thought, but are now no longer in contention?
I mean, I surely got to start with my second in the power ranking, iDrop and Haris. To me, that was... I mean, it's the problem with that landing spot for the second season in a row for Haris, right? It's like that landing spot in the finals lobby feels horrible. It feels like you don't get enough loot. And we're in this weird meta where, from mobility, we're quite low economy, right? You don't need many chests, you don't need many floors. Once to get, your nitros or your crash pads. However, to get a good surge loadout with DMRs consistently, you need so much loot. And if you're getting it cut off half the games, right, you're not going to be able to consistently get surge. You don't have cacti near you to trade with people as well. It's like, it's actually really hard for them to have played this weekend, and it showed. They seemed like they struggled a lot, and I think the biggest surprise for me was in the lower bracket. The fact they didn't make it back into the finals lobbies after they dropped down into lowers. They came 50th, which to me is a huge shock. I felt like in that top of lobby, I was expecting not the same level as Teeny and Chat, but something similar where they're getting 500 points and they're qualifying easily. To not even get close.
I mean, that's where their strength is, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the sort of more open, lower level lobbies where they just dominate.
You're also not capped at surge, right, in those lobbies. Like, the games aren't going to be overly stacked, so you don't need to have that DMR pickup or get lucky every single game. Like, their spot, I think, benefits from not having people set loot paths, right? Because you can run around and third-party loot stuff, because not everyone's going to be landing at the same spot. You can go into POIs, loot stuff, take stuff away. So, yeah, I was also surprised to see them. But, realistically, when Harry puts you at the top, you're doomed for failure, so...
I put the wrong one out the duo. I should have put Skivvy and Chino at the top. I put the wrong one.
No, when Skivvy and Chino called Grands, I was like, wow, that is such a dunk for Skivvy. Everyone sort of just left Skivvy in the mud this season after.
Old man out.
Yeah. Anybody else surprised about any of the people who didn't make it to Grands? No love for Marius or anything.
We can talk to Marius, bottom right of Kinch's camera. We can ask him how it felt. Sorry.
Gosh.
I mean, dude,
for the audio listeners, there is a washing machine in the bottom right of.
I mean, that's literally my entire chat this weekend was, Boop, Marius is washed, man. Like, what the hell happened to my GOAT? Like, he went from dropping 40 bombs in solo cash cup to, not even qualifying sometimes. To, not even winning a game yesterday, It's kind of sad to see, the downfall, you could say, of Marius, but it's not, I think, at the lack of individual skill or any sort of level. I think it's just one of those metas that his playstyle doesn't really shine through. I think a lot of people are very quick to blame Sangilde in that duo as well, but it's a two-man team. Just because Marius gets fraggy and goes crazy doesn't mean that Sangilde's not pulling his weight, because he had to put someone in the position to get those skills and do stuff like that as well. But I am excited to see future prospects, because there's still, I think, a lot of potential for someone like Marius. Probably a little bit less of a competitive player than someone like Vico with the similar fragging ability. Needs to be molded into a good player. And I think like when some of the guys move back from NA to EU again, there's a lot of strong IGLs that potentially could pick up someone like Marius who needs guidance, I think.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame though, because like this was meant to be, I guess, his huge breakout year.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Everyone, he's one of the best fraggers, one of the best fighters for a while, and it just looked like this year should be his year where he takes that step up to tier 1.
And goes globals.
Yeah, well, absolutely. At the very least,
is there maybe something to be said about him maybe getting some of the praise and the attention of someone who's had their big pop-off year before he actually actualized it, and maybe that's part of like the, is there almost an element of maybe he got a bit complacent, or maybe is, do you know what I mean?
Maybe.
Like, is there anything to that to speak to? Maybe I'm reaching a bit there, but
I mean, yeah, they're potentially. I wonder as well, especially with a lot of the Danish players, is with a lot of players as well. ESL, the whole like focusing on that, trying to quota Saudi. How much did that take away your attention from actually focusing on Fortnite and focusing on actually playing and improving for a set lobby, right?
True.
And you said a very good point about the meta. It is a hard meta to be a fighter in, I feel like, because the surge thresholds are so high, you don't get rewarded that much for killing a player, like you still need to get like over double the surge from just killing a duo. So it's not like you're not going to be able to, for example, where we're going back to the season they did the best, which was Chapter 5 Season 1, right, where they came 4th. That was a meta where you could literally fight one team, and that's basically your surge for the whole game. That's it done. You can then just go play normally and play an easy game. But in this meta, it's completely different. You still need so much more surge and a completely different playstyle, which maybe didn't suit him. We don't know really what was going on, but I think that is definitely one of the biggest shocks, that someone like Marius and even Sangor. Sangor's a very, very good player, very good IGL that, as you said, gets a lot of slack, but to not even qualify to grand finals is crazy.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, boo-hoo for all the people who didn't make it to grands. See you next year. You're not going globals. Apart from Andilex and Sato. They are the only ones that can be like, actually, we are going globals, aren't we? Let's do the grand finals bracket. Let's talk grand finals predictions. We did this last season, where basically we have a bunch of the teams, unfortunately a maximum of 32 of the teams, and we basically have to pick between each team in each round. Who do we think is going to place higher in grand finals? If you're wondering how we got some of these teams, for the most part, I just like took the order of how people actually qualified in the semi-final weekend. So like, the 5 game winners on upper bracket 1, 5 game winners upper bracket 2. Then, when I got to the 3rd day, unfortunately, some people who did qualify before others got kicked out because I just wasn't not going to have reason and video on this list, for example.
Yeah.
So if your name's not here, or if someone you like's name's not here, I am sorry. Such is life. We go from
I thought
there.
you were going to say boohoo as well. That's the motto of today. Boohoo.
Boohoo. Unlucky. It's not
next
fair.
time
It's
we
not
design a more complex bracket.
Maybe.
By rounds and all 50 teams.
We'll let Kinge do that.
We'll let Kinge do
yeah,
it.
Sure. With that being said, though, also when it comes to the way some of these have been seeded, so there is like some actual seeding here in some places. I used the combined power rankings from last week, and so it's like Swizzy's the 1 seed, Chapintinho the 3 seed, Malibu and Masashi all the way at the bottom are like the 2 seed. So some of those teams have easier matchups early on, which it was how we said we'd do it. But anyway, let's go back to the top and let's just start off. The first round should be pretty straightforward in most cases. Swizzy and Vanyak versus Sky and Scroll. Good to see Sky and Scroll in another grand finals, their 3rd, of the year. But they don't win this matchup.
It's not even close.
Yeah.
No. Being contested at restored reels, even if they weren't contested at restored reels, wouldn't change anything. But no. But as you said, it is really good for Sky and Scroll to be making back-to-back grand finals. And it's nice to see. Like, I always feel pretty good when every chapter we get a new generation or a new player come up and make consistent grands or something like that, because you get a new name on the scene, which can help build the scene going forward. Right, if they start to perform even further, they did well last grands as well, but they don't even get close to Swizzy and Vanya.
Yeah, I'd say like the one thing with them as well is that like I like when teams like this get highlighted more, because I feel like what ends up happening a lot of the time is that you'll get a team like this who next year if they go on to get like a top 5 or something in a grand or top 4, people will be like, oh, they came out of nowhere. But it's like, no, they were like making grands the year before.
Told you
they
about
weren't doing
them,
much. Yeah. And like Harry said, I thought we always get teams like that every year. So yeah, unlucky though.
Yeah.
Up against Susie and Vanya. One
Yeah.
Next matchup, Chapentini, Akira Yeezy. Who's going through
A
here?
little bit of the same. Obviously, I think Chapatini, this was an obvious one. Akira Wezwai or... why are you looking shocked?
No. Go. It's
Oh,
fine.
okay. I thought this was something controversial there. Chapatini, obviously, above Akira Wezwai. Akira Wezwai have the struggle right now of figuring out a draw spot. They made a tweet yesterday saying, we're going to go to Olympus and contest Protosci and Snazy, and they were met by a barrage of hashtag M8Win fans replying to them. And then 20 minutes later, they folded under negative pressure and they tweeted, no, fuck those Polish scum, we're going back to Cami and Seti. So they haven't done great while being contested. Chapatini uncontested, the winner contenders. So
I think Akira are going to be one of those teams that ends up moving around during grands. Honestly, like, if it doesn't go well against Cami and Seti initially, obviously.
They're going to do the classic, which is down at the beach, bottom left. That you're going to have the 3 teams there, one at the beach, one at the Red House, one at the Plains. They're going to be one of the 2 teams at the Red House or the Plains. They're just going to be sat there with their 11 chests going around killing teams. Like, it's for sure.
And they'll still probably somehow get double DMR. Next round, Trulix and Chicho. Kinch, who's going through. Trulix and Chicho, Comeback and Axe Force.
Wait. Is it maybe Comeback and...
This is not a team.
No,
Clown
Comeback and
and
Chawa.
Oh, that's
Clown Axe Force.
on me.
Combat.
That's
Either
that's
way,
on me.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be funny if we put the fake team through now, but I think we're going to go with Trulix and Chicho.
That's my bad. Clown and Axe was actually below that against Seti and Cammy, so we'll do that one now as well. Saying the Cammy versus Clown and Axe Force.
Yes. Well, I mean, it depends if they get contested, but still, like
even if they get contested, I don't think it makes much of a difference. They've done decent. Like the funniest thing is they said they're gonna WQ windmill split if someone lands. They're like, come on, that's not happening. Come on.
Yeah.
Out of all the tier 1 pros, Cammy and Seti does not have that aura.
You're not scaring anyone. You're not fooling anyone, man. Come on. We don't know you're gonna split it halfway through. Like it's
They ain't keying no one.
Yeah, no, they're not doing that either. Like I know for a fact they're not doing that. I reckon you'd probably have like Suzy and Vanya doing that more often than not. But not Seti and Cammy. No. Nathan and CCV versus Kaito and Hydro. Kaito and Hydro obviously contested by QNDX and Phantom at Lil Dirty Doc. Nathan and CZB. Uncorn at Grand Glacier. Not been the best there in grand finals in previous seasons, but
I mean, what happened to them this weekend? I feel like they were non-existent this weekend at all, right? Like they folded under pressure, but they somehow still qualified. I think to lowers. I'm not sure what happened to them
in the end. So good 3 games to finish.
Yeah. I mean, it's surprising how badly they did, considering how the form that they currently had. But I guess when the games get stacked, that sort of makes them struggle. I think this one is probably. I would probably bet Kaito Hydro on this one. I can't lie.
Really?
Yeah.
Kinch, what are you thinking?
I would definitely stick with Nathan. I don't know. I think they've proved themselves in a lot of finals lobbies. Not really in grands yet, but I don't know. I just trust them to get back to their old form of consistent top 10s.
Yeah, I mean,
I think they should be seen as a little bit of a dark horse. You can predict them high. Don't really quite know what's going to happen.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I speaking as the coach of Kaito and Hydro, I have a bit of a biased point of view on this one.
Okay.
I take back my answer then.
Yeah, I take back your answer. Go on. But no, I like it's hard to ever bet on especially Nathan and CZB, who've had multiple good final performances this season. I think the thing they struggle with the most, it wasn't a meta change. It was just even more teams started going towards the Cacti. You watch Cash Cup finals and stuff like that. It's teams who haven't been there before, don't have set plans, don't have set surge plans. There's a lot more teams around them who they could get surge on, right? But in these finals lobbies, it felt like, obviously, if you look at you open up the map of anything, everyone's got their own set Cacti they're sat on, right? And when you're not landing near it, they can still get to it with all the launch pads, but it's gonna make the surge threshold so much higher. They're gonna struggle more with it, right? But they have been a team who have been performing well this season, like one of the better teams this season. It's hard for me to put them over Kaito and Hydro, even though I do think Kaito and Hydro will do well, and I have to put my bias in there. But yeah.
So am I the decider here?
Well, either a draw for.
Okay, I'd say it's tough because unless Nathan and CZB cook up something like really interesting in terms of like just heading to cactuses fast in Grands, which they can't really do from Grand Glacier unless they like head
They
up
could
on
pad
like the
there.
hill and pad there, right?
I mean,
But
Queasy
it's like-
Thomas do it like
Queasy
relatively
Thomas
fast.
do, yeah, but like they have like the rings that they can
Yeah.
get to do it are easier than like the Grand Glacier ring is like pointing the other way, you know, like
Mhm.
it's going the complete opposite way. But yeah, they can still pad. I guess in this case, it's weird because I do feel like one of the Little Dirty Doc team, whichever one like does like better off spawn, like I do feel like one of those teams will do much better basically
Yeah.
than what
They're
most
called
people expect.
globals. Yeah.
Yeah, like I could see one of them doing it. But for the safeness of my prediction, I'm gonna go Nathan and CZB. I'm gonna put them through. Garrus and Chari versus QNX and Phantom. So the other Little Dirty Doc team versus Garrus and Chari.
Cammy and Seti uncon, yes or no? If Cammy and Seti can get Surge with them, then you know I would go Garrus. I go Garrus and Chari for sure. And I mean, yeah, like I still think Garrus and Chari, Garrus, who's now been, well, they've both been really good players now for 2 years, basically, constantly making Grands, constantly doing well in Grands, uncontested at the bridge split to the left of Cammy split. I feel like they should be getting close to globals for sure.
I mean, you say that, and then the performance that they had this weekend again didn't feel like it was that good, right? Like, for some reason, all these teams that you expect to do well that have experience don't have it locked in or aren't showing exactly what's up. Maybe it's a bit of sandbagging, going to get a little bit of extra practice, which I doubt. But I'm not convinced by them yet, and especially like if YZY lands on the left side near windmills, like there's a French team buffering the Polish team, and then everything is cut off, and then they're gonna come up with something new, which I think it's kind of hard for them to do much from that spot because the majority of teams that trade Surge are like deeper to them, so they don't really get great positioning.
Yeah, unfortunately, we haven't seen enough from QNDX and Phantom this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, fortunately
game,
for them, because they did one game and got to Grands. But yeah, it would have been nice to actually see how they performed in a few more games.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, they're good. They definitely have a decent understanding when they get off spawn. Obviously, I think, as you said, Levin, it's like from that spot, if you make it off spawn and you don't get third party straight away, you have really nice rotation. You have really nice ways to get Surge if you can make the correct rotations right. But yeah, it is. I'm trying not to be biased here or anything. I'm trying to speak from like as little bias as possible. But yeah, I think off spawn, like the way that I feel the off spawn's going to go. Obviously, I would go Garrus and Chari for sure. But obviously, the worry is how much did they sandbag this weekend? Which I don't think really, unless you're literally tier 1, I don't think many teams would sandbag, to be honest, because I don't think they have the capabilities to sandbag.
I think everyone was just figuring it out, man. I genuinely feel like when you look at a lot of those, like a lot of the games, it's like people were like, holy shit, like what is going on? It's like the slow progression of like, is this really how we're gonna have to play? And like, you know, over time, like you said, if they're able to trade with City and Cammy, which again, that is one of the teams that they are able to trade with quite a bit because it's just in proximity, right? It feels weird saying trade and Surge so casually in like a non-cheating way, but it's just what everyone's doing, you know? In that context, and I'd say you'd expect Garrus and Trade to do better, for sure, because even if QNDX and Phantom do make it off spawn, and the same thing applies for Katsu and Hydro, it's like the potential for them to just get third partied and just like picked on by a Malibuka Mustache and, you know, Janice and Pixie, whoever, like it's just, you'd think it's very high. So I'd say we put Garrus and Chari through.
I agree, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Danny Puzo Hizix versus Snazy Podesai. I'm going to put Snazy Podesai through.
Yeah, just Snazy Podesai for sure. And yeah, especially if they get Mount Olympus uncontested, I feel like they're going to have a very good weekend.
I want my Twitter DMs to be safe, so I picked Snazy Podesai as well.
Did you disagree, Kinch, or would you?
No, I absolutely agree. I mean, the other guys, they're landing pleasant, right? Contested.
Yeah, contested by Clown and Axels.
Every Grands, that landing spot's contested.
Right.
Yeah, pleasant. Every Grands, it's always
there's a Mystic Spaz there, bro. Don't you know?
Yeah, it's because everyone's like, oh, we get 10 chests without having to fight. Surely that's enough in Grand.
Yeah, but you get the forecast out and the bunker, bro. You know, that gets bitched by Chapantini every single game.
Which, Chapantini or Vadir and Reason, who have both qualified to globals, who are just going to be keying it every game. So
yeah. Asu and Ju versus Dexy and Eclipse.
this is close because Astra and Jew were doing pretty well at the start of the season.
they're good
from what-
form.
Are they conned
Yeah.
by Kira and Mappy?
They are killed on by
Yes.
Kiro and Mappy at the Pirates of the Caribbean. Hashtag ad.
I love that POI, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that
Yeah.
POI. Start playing some Pirates of the Caribbean music right now. I don't. I just
He's
think,
also conned, right?
Yeah.
He is also conned.
But it's
Dex is
less
also
likely
conned.
of a con because they're like taking the whole of the left map. You know?
Yeah.
I just feel like they're gonna. That Dexy and Eclipse are gonna wipe that team so often off spawn that to the point, like not even off spawn, but like if the team lands elsewhere, I actually think that's better for Dexy and Eclipse if they land. If the other team lands at like the Vault, because they will just wipe them very easily. And I don't know. I just think Dexy and Eclipse are gonna have a pretty good weekend.
You know it's always bad when you can't pronounce the name of the other team. Like, what the fuck is a Lai Whoops? Like, I don't know what that is. I don't know who they are. I
it's
know
that
they're
team.
French, I believe.
Yeah.
It's the ones that supposedly played on another account.
I see.
so they might be
So
getting
allegedly-
roots.
Someone else played for Sylar, apparently.
So the name
I don't know
makes
how
sense
true
because
this
they have a
is.
crisis identity, clearly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say Dex and Eclipse have been pretty decent. I think they're underrated for sure. Like they had a 10th place in FNTasia's Grand Finals this season, this chapter as well, right? Like they're one of those teams that I think no one ever believes in because like they got 0 aura, you know, like
They need
but
cooler
at the-
names.
Huh? What's up?
They need cooler names.
Yeah,
as
I
my
mean, yeah, they
friend
do.
Boop
Yeah,
always says,
I mean,
yeah.
Eclipse is fucking sick.
Eclipse is a cold name to be fair.
Eclipse.
Yeah.
But then you got Dexy. I don't know. What that
Dexy's
is.
a bit.
Yeah.
Let's put Dexy.
He's just a
in
copy of the old
Yeah.
Dexy though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was an old Dexy. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, I mean, like again, they qualified to a win again. They've done a win every single season in the chapter. I feel like maybe I'm misremembering that, but they've at least won one more this chapter before through reboot rounds. So they look like one of those teams that are looking good. So yeah, that was an easy one, I think.
Fire Hunter and Art versus
Voltaics.
Voltaics and Cool.
Voltaics and Cool. I actually think these guys are the real dark horses. I feel like the way they've played and from what I've watched from them, the whole being edge map doesn't really matter, and I feel like they have quite a nice read on the way they want to play. And
I like Research Rock as a spot as well.
Yeah,
I
feel like
Research Rock.
it without the way they played last season is the way they're playing this season as well, which is if you watch them last season, especially day one, because they had a really good day one last season, right? I think they were like top 10 after day one, right?
They might have been, yeah.
Yeah, and they literally did the exact same thing, which is they loot, they get they get to the pad, they fizz pad as far away from the landing spot as possible. They literally go. Last season they went towards Snooty by the end of first zone, they'd be there, and then this season they go towards obviously shock horror. They go towards a cacti. They have their own little like shock horror. But it feels like that spot uncontested. Nothing really bad can happen too much to that landing spot, right? And you have an easy way to get towards mid map to make your rotate so much better, right? And to be able to get surge. I don't know. I feel like they're setting up for a really, really good weekend. Like, I think they're definitely in contention for globals for sure.
I'd say on Voltix, like, he's one of those players at a point, I think, in his career where he's made enough grands now where, like, at a certain point, you're expecting either you have, like, a standout performance and, like, you've been here enough before, things are set up looking good for you, you have a standout performance, or you just fall into, like, the mediocrity of, like, an EU Grands lobby filler, which isn't bad, right?
Yeah, just
Grands
a top
lobby
30
filler,
classic.
Yeah, just like a team where, like, it's like, something's gonna have to break right now, and I feel like this will be a very telling like grands for where Voltix is as a player, I should say.
For those of you that don't know, Vortex are cool, which probably a lot of people don't. They're 50 ping Egyptian players, which makes everything a little bit more impressive as well. On top of that, I think Firehunter and Artists are definitely a team that. They're a team that you just see and hype randomly a lot of the games, right? I think that happened in the qualifiers where it's like, hey, oh shit, who the hell is? I mean, the name is on Firehunter and Artists in this game. It's some
His
stupid
name is
stuff.
something,
Underdog, bro.
Underdog.
Firehunter.
There you go.
Yeah.
I
Like,
can't
okay,
remember the
who's
last
that
time
again?
he was
Yeah.
Firehunter.
Yeah.
No,
So, like,
literally.
you could see them on high gun a few times, but I don't think they'll have the consistency that Cool Vortex probably have, especially from the draw spot. So I think Cool Vortex as well.
Before we put on the
Sorry,
Wiggins
I just wanted to say something a bit more about Firehunter and Artist because their results this season are actually pretty good in finals. They kind of go under the radar, but they made one Duo Cash Cup final, came 7th. Then in qualifier 1, they were 2nd. Upper 3, they won that. and that's pretty much their finals performances.
Pretty
So they're
good.
actually kind of a bit of a finals.
And to be
maybe.
fair, last season they did well as well. I'm pretty sure they did well in Grands last season, or were close.
Yeah, I think it is valid to put Voltax above them. I think the hype around them is real, so
Yeah.
you can still go with them.
It's interesting because, yeah, how much are we? I
We
can't
got
really
to buy into
remember.
the hype of someone. It's not a real prediction if we don't buy into the hype of someone.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with it.
I think they just both got potential to
Yeah.
surprise and get that top 10. You know,
For sure, yeah. I'd say, to be fair, as far as like brackets go and like hard matchup, like them being like a first round matchup, I think is quite like hard in terms of like where they've seeded similarly. But yeah, let's put Voltax and Call in quotes. Mappy and Kiro versus Nebs and Kiduo. Nebs and Kiduo on at Grim right now, so I'd say we put them through.
Yeah. I mean, if Batman Booga is something to go off, Grim's the best line spot on the map, so put them through. It is, yeah. I mean, they did well in the one finals they made in the weeks. Didn't they won one of the games, right? I'm pretty sure they won one of those games, and they have been I feel like pretty solid this whole season for the most part. But yeah, I think it's a shame for Mappy and Kira. They're going to be contested, right? Obviously, Kira getting so close to globals in the first season, right?
Yeah.
And then this season being contested on a split drop, which we know anything about split drops. It depends if they're going to 50-50 or not, but it's always going to be, oh, they've got best drop, we're going to swerve, why would we 50-50 with worst drop? And then they're just both going to grief each other's games at the Pirates of the Caribbean ship, #ad. But I think for the most part that Kidwo and Nebs are just going to, they're just going to have a pretty solid weekend for the most part. I don't think they're really going to have too many problems.
I agree.
Yep.
Nothing to add there. Prism and Casper versus Art Skill and
Shakos.
Raise your hand if you thought Prism and Casper would win a game this weekend.
Yeah, go on.
Right. You know, explain that, Levin. Go ahead.
No, I put
go
my
on.
hand straight back down. I didn't.
It's the laptop buff.
Didn't they qualify by winning a game in season 1 or something?
My memory doesn't stretch back that far.
Can you just bring the receipts?
No.
No.
Can't just
I
bring the
can't,
stats.
I can't remember how they qualified.
Is
They
he
were
still
they were
playing on a laptop for Grands?
No, he was
on
away
holiday in
for...
France.
Fairs.
Yeah.
So that means 0 ping's better than having a good PC. Like So all the Germans and French who are on bad PCs, look what you can do on a laptop. You can win a game in a upper bracket lobby.
Yeah.
So hey, it is what it is.
I'm actually gonna go Prism Casper for this one. I think their spot is really good. Like, it's one of the better spots that's already deep in the map. You can trade surge with everyone around you. Oscar and Shakos have stuff happening to the west, and the stuff is probably also gonna be with Vico and Flixie as well. There, like, I don't like that edge spot. It did get buffed a little bit because there's cannons now on the ship. There's like a random ship now, so you can cannon out that spot, get on top of the mountain. But
Yeah.
who knows if those cannons get removed, you know, because they're not meant to be in competitive, so that might also go
Really?
to the detriment of them. Yeah, they literally tweeted out, hey, these cannons aren't in competitive, but they are in competitive. Classic. So I think, you know, maybe we have some changes there, but Prism Casper's just were just so much more elite compared to Odd Skills. I don't even think player level, like Odd Skill and Shakos, good fighters, you know. Prism and Casper have more experience now as well, and they're moving up. I could see the team doing really well from here.
Didn't our Skill and Shakos become a duo for semis? I think so.
Let me look. Because I remember, like, obviously Shakos and Sky Dune split.
I'm pretty sure they switched it up for lowers.
Let me see. They did, because he art skill core with T-chips. So yeah, they are a new duo. Yeah, that is. I actually didn't know because all the French duos just move around so much. I actually thought
you almost just like you wait for one of them to do something significant before you lock it in.
Yeah,
but yeah,
exactly.
I'm with you. I'll put Prism and Casper. I like that spot a lot. Big up Mongrel and Savage.
Mentioned.
Ping and Wox versus Marine and Cade.
I mean, shit, Ping and
I'm putting
Wox.
Ping and Wox through, man.
Yeah.
Contested Underworld, right?
Yeah,
Like
or
cheery
From
folk.
Marine and Kate are also con at the like
Are they?
at
South
the,
of it.
Yeah, like where
Triple
Harris
cons.
was landing.
Yeah. The boys.
I mean, America would probably land on Linux and Moni because that's what they were originally landing at. And now they
Yeah.
moved. So I think you're definitely not going to go there. It's more of a 50-50 spot. Ping and Walks have had pretty good history, I think, against Nate and Slove this season. But you just don't know when things get turned up to 11 sometimes. So it might be when the stakes are high, it might be a little bit scary. Also, there's YouTube videos going to get DMCA'd now. But
Yeah, don't get the fucking podcast channel DMCA'd, bro. Come on, man, chill out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ping,
man-
Ping
the
and
man who-
Wox have been one of the best teams in finals lobbies this season.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Duo Cash Cup, 3rd, 2nd, 26th, 8th, 5th.
Yeah, insanely good.
5 out of 5 and 4 top 8s. That's
That's-
kind of crazy.
That
Not
is
bad.
crazy.
So,
It's such a weird. It's like playstyle wise, you can see it obviously like working. Like obviously it has with Ping and Wox, but it's such a when they start playing together, it's such a weird mix of players you'd never expect to play together. But it's just worked out so well for them.
A
this
Swede
season.
with a Russian, right? I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ukraine?
Was
it might be
Ukrainian?
Ukrainian.
I think.
Yeah,
Shit.
come on, you don't get that wrong, broski.
Shit.
Yeah.
Don't get that shit wrong.
Yeah, they look
Yeah.
good. They look really
It's the
good.
blue and yellow combination.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Video and Reason versus Slovenia and Nate.
Like the thing is, I
Video and Reason
I
let me
ha-
down this weekend, man.
I
I'll say
hate
it.
Yeah.
predicting Video and Reason
They let
because
me down.
you look at any stats, you look at anything from the season they're playing, and you watch them play, and you're like, these guys are finally just not playing to the level. There's no way they're going to do well in the finals. Then you watch them in grands, and it's just like, how do they get away with murder every game without fail?
Yeah.
They're the most scuffed team every single time. They're just getting so many kills every single time. Like they just recover out the most awkward spots, and I don't know when I'm gonna buy into the hype of Video and Reason. Obviously, they're already called global, so and you know, Reason's on stream getting his Rolex out every time he dies. He's like, so
Well, it's funny because this weekend, right? Like they just weren't great, and
no.
Vidil in particular, his performance was such a way like, oh, maybe the wheels are finally starting to fall off. And then Reason gets DC'd in the last game and he clutches up and they're on their way to grand. And you're like, okay, well, clearly the wheels aren't falling off. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't
The
know.
wheels are on by tape.
Yeah, but it's clearly very strong tape because these guys still keep going. I'm putting them through against Slovenia and Nate.
yeah.
I think the performances was boosted down. Oh,
No, we're doing Reason.
Reason.
Of course, come on.
I think the performance was a little bit scuffed by the fact that they had like 3 triple con Studi steps games in every single one of the brackets, so they were always going to have triple contested. Upper bracket 1, it went kind of well for them. Upper bracket 2, they said, okay, fuck it. Brutal Beachhead is now uncontested, we might as well go there. So they were learning a new draw spot, and they clearly didn't know how to play that new draw spot, which is why I think a lot of their performances looked a lot worse on paper than it actually is. Yeah, it's easy though, but I think Video Reason, I still have faith there.
Yeah, I just don't know what to expect.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, it
it's
could be
really, they're
intense
really
for
hard team to
20th,
predict.
Let's
for
go
sure.
with them.
Queasy and Thomas versus Pablo Wingo and Bevies. And Queasy and Thomas through.
Queasy and
Queasy.
Thomas.
Yeah.
Let's save the discussion.
Oh yeah, I have a
Let's
lot to
just-
say about that for the next
yeah.
round. Yeah.
Vico and Flixie versus Janice and Pixie. This one, I think they've
Oh.
both been shagged here in this first round.
Yeah.
I think they've both been shagged. But Pinch,
Has
what are you
to be VK.
thinking? Has to be Vico?
Does
Yeah.
it?
I think
Absolutely.
100% is Vico. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, them going through upper bracket 3 just because they can't win games. You know, they can't win games, but
Yeah.
most consistent team both rounds, and then they got second in upper 3. Vico Flixie's form is unrivaled. I think going into the FNtasia Grand Finals, they're probably looking like the best team on paper. In actuality, how his finals lobby plays out with the playstyle is a little bit different, but they got everything to the disposal as well with Southside being contested. I feel like this one's a piece of cake.
I mean, all I want to do is talk about Janice Pixie. Obviously, we're not going to brush over a team of this caliber. We can't just brush over and not talk about, right? But Janice and Pixie, a team who probably aren't going to be in contention for winning, but definitely going to be a contention or maybe one of the favorites to qualify globals, right? Uncontested brawlers, really nice surge. Obviously, with the ring right next to them, they can use for surge plays. A lot of, it's a really nice spot for them to play in. I think they've been fairly solid for the majority of the season. The surprising thing is they haven't been uncontested that much. This weekend was like one of the first weekends they've actually been uncontested at Brawlers. Obviously, you've had Bad Sniper there. You've had, I think there was a couple of other teams who were landing there throughout like the FNCS weeks because they were triple cons sometimes. And actually finally getting to see them uncontested, like they showed they still can play very well. The problem is I don't know how amazing their end games are sometimes, but it feels like they are making it to a lot of end games unless they get into like a messy fight. So that would be my biggest problem for them. But as you said, Boop, to be fair, Vico and Felixi are the informed team. When you're outside the tier 1 teams, obviously, where you're going to, those sort of teams, you're going to boost up a little bit. The actual most informed team is Vico and Felixi off this weekend for sure.
I'll drop my stats on them when we get to them in the next round.
Okay.
Does Janus and Pixie benefit from the contestation of QNDX and stuff, Harry? Do you know?
Yes.
Because I heard a lot of people saying like they're just third party every single game, they both die, but I haven't seen too much of it.
They can benefit. It just depends on how quickly they want to get over there. They can benefit.
Look, as somebody who lands at Brawlers Battlegrounds, let me tell you something right now. You do benefit. Trust me, you do benefit. But you don't like, because sometimes that off-spawn fight like will happen very quickly. Like if they 50-50, like then you can't really like get, unless you get like a DMR off-spawn and like you just fuck everything off and you're like, I'm getting tags. Like I don't want to give them ideas. Sorry, Harry. No.
No.
Hey,
there's no ideas to get. It's all happened already this week.
It's all obvious. Yeah,
it's all happened this weekend already. Like if you get a thermal DMR from Brawlers, because that's the hardest part about that landing spot to tag is in between the containers, right? And like in the buildings. But if you get a thermal DMR from Brawlers, like you get so much surge. It is unbelievable. So yeah, for sure they are benefiting from it, and that's like one of the things that we'll get onto in the next round when we're going to talk about the next team. That both of those teams are going to benefit hugely from the contestation. But
I for what it's worth, I have Janice and Pixie going to globals.
I would agree.
Yeah,
I would agree.
That's not a crazy take, I think. Yeah.
Manny and Mustache versus Turtle and Cheats. Sorry, Turtle and Cheats. I love Turtle and Cheats, man, but it's Manny and Mustache.
We'll talk about them in a bit. Mustache and Malibu.
All right, let's go back to the top and let's deal with this because I didn't realize how hard this was going to be just in the second round. We got some mental matchups here. Swizzy and Vanyak versus Chapentini. Who places higher? I'm putting you on the spot, Kinch. Go on, start us off.
Swizzy and Vanyak do. I mean, Swizzy's won 2 out of the last 3 FNCS finals. You can't bet against that, really, no matter how good Chapentini are. They're great. Like, if Nitrodrome hadn't been nerfed with the boom bolt being removed, then there's probably an argument there. And Chapentini probably maybe even become favourites for Grands, who knows? But yeah, I think Swizzy and Vanyak edge it.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it all depends for Chapentini how crazy they go. I think there's a higher chance of them winning if they have a mediocre day 1 and just go full like W key day 2, right? Because if they have a good day 1, I feel like they're just going to play like normal Fortnite. Like they care there's a chance they can win. They're just going to play normal Fortnite, which I think will make them fall off a bit. But if they have a like mediocre day 1 and they're keying the forecast every game, they're keying the bunkers every game, and they're getting those big games in the second day, right? I just think they could have a crazy performance. But you're right. It's Swizzy and Vanyak. Swizzy has been the best player at EU now for basically a year. You can't really bet against them.
Yeah. It's interesting because it's interesting you mentioned like them having to play, them playing normal being like to their detriment. There's been some end games I've seen from them during semis where I was like they are just playing not like, I feel like with how they've burst onto the scene the past season and, we're blowing people out of the water and whatnot. Like, a lot of people expect him to be this, like, uber aggressive team that is just fighting everyone, like, almost, like, crazily. And there's times when they don't do that. And I almost wish in those situations they would just be a bit more crazy. Because, like, sometimes they have these games where I'm like, you guys could be a bit more aggressive here. You could be a bit more proactive here. And you're just, like, I get you're trying to just play normal. But sometimes I feel like it's just better for these guys to just go batshit crazy.
A little bit pressure. The pressure. That's what I was saying about it. Is like if the pressure's on, you have a chance to win, right? Every fight means that much more. But when you're already in 12th or 11th, right, going into day 2, it's like, well, we're not really in the running to win. Obviously you can, but you're not up there. it's so much easier to just fight because you're like, oh, we die, oh, we're losing out. Like, obviously, it's still losing out a lot of money, but it's not the difference between first and fifth, right? You know, it's a completely different ball game.
I feel like for this one, it's the case of I think Swizzy and Vanya can win. I don't think Chapantini can win. Right? Like Swizzy and Vanya are too consistent compared to Chapantini to actually do much. And Chapantini, everything's been nerfed for them. They're going into the season. Everything's been brought down for them. They have a pretty good situation this time in Grand Finals, with Reason being contested over at Snooty. So they have Forecast Tower for free every single game pretty much as well. But the play style, just again, I said it last week, like it's been slightly more dwindling week to week. And even this last weekend, they looked good, but again, not the same old confident, aggressive selves that they were. And you know, the other team, I think, Vico and Flixie, for example, do what they do right now, but better, which is, you know, to the dismay of them now.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, well, with that being said, next round, Trulix and Chicho versus City and Cammy. Who do we think places higher?
I think this is really close, because to me, whenever it comes to a grand finals for Cammy and Seti, especially a meta like this where, you know, it is all about surge tagging and not fighting, right? It's you can't really put them down at all, right? Like, no matter what you see, or no matter, you know that Cammy and Seti are hiding things for a grand finals. You know that for a fact, no matter what. Like, they are going to be having strats, they're going to have ideas, meta reads, whatever it is, they're going to have things prepared for grand finals. However, Trulix and Chicho being uncontested, which I think we can all agree, their whole like fighting off spawn is their weakest point by far.
Yeah.
Them being uncontested. It's crazy we say that, because obviously in the last globals they were contested. What was it? It was Slappy. And
fighting off spawn, were they?
Yeah, they were fighting off spawn like 6-0.
Yeah,
but to be
sure
fair, it's like even but off the last season, right? Obviously the whole off spawn situation, but being uncontested and the way Trix and Chicho have always played, you know, the surge bases again. This is the battle of the surge bases. This is literally, it's the fight of the two teams are going to surge base the most. I think I'd edge Trulix and Chicho. Just because of the off-spawn situation.
For me, if Cammy and City are unconned, then there's maybe more of a conversation to be had here. The one thing I'd say about them from what we saw during semis day 1 and a bit of day 2 was like how clean are their end games going to be, but then what the fuck are we talking about? It's Cammy and Seti. Of course their end games are going to be clean in grand final. So because like they were fine for the most part, like in terms of, again, all the surge stuff, everything beforehand, you expect them to be good. Like, this is a meta where DMRs are the most important gun in the game is like the meta for Seti and Cammy. But then it's like Trulix and Chicho, you know, not Condor spawn, and like you expect them to do really well in a meta where, again, they need to surge base and use DMRs and whatnot. So
it's hard to beat Trulix and Chicho because they have the playstyle perfectly to the pat, like down pat. Like they basically play like Cammy and Seti like 3 seasons ago. Like, you know, we got 3 mech kits in inventory, 30 enough moving zone, we're popping 3 mech kits and we're getting 3rd place. You know, that's good enough. We don't care about winning the game.
Every game.
I think the issue, exactly, every single game. I think the issue right now I have with Cammy and Seti is I feel like they're not completely in form. I feel like Cammy right now is looking really, really good. And then if you compare that to the damage stats of Seti, for example, I'm not sure if... I mean, I saw that Cammy was, I think, top in the damage stats, and also eliminations. It was like crazy in the favor of Cammy in this in upper bracket. And then I think Seti's stats in comparison weren't as good for what I felt like. And like looking at their games as well, like they you think they're a consistent team, but like they're not breaking top 10s even in upper bracket 1. 10th, 19th, 3rd, 22nd, 3rd, right? And then upper 2, 23rd, 13th, 17th, and then they won the game. So like half the games, they don't even break the top 10 or break the top 15.
The end games just weren't clean.
Yeah, like the end games don't look clean. And I feel like it's always going into that. Although Queasy is convinced that they're going to win FNCS. So I don't know. Queasy knows something I don't. Or I'm just being stupid. I don't see them being anywhere near Trulix and Chicho right now as form. Like, Trulix and Chicho are a lock for a top 5, top 10 this season.
A continuation of what you just said there with like alluding to Cammy maybe looking in better form than Seti. That sort of was what you would say their downfall was last season. Like, they could have won FNTS last season. Cammy played phenomenally. You know, it's hard to put him as an MVP of the tournament because of just how incredible, you know, some of the other guys were in that tournament. But like, he was in contention for that because his individual performances in some of those games were immense.
The solo clutch was crazy,
right? Like
from that second zone.
Yeah.
So he's had some crazy moments, and so you would say he's still in form. We obviously know he's been much more on the grind than Seti this season, and so it feels like this season could end up being a continuation of like the back end of last Grands, where it's like they look good at points, they have potential to do really good, but maybe they don't because they're just not both on the same page right now, level wise, with how they're playing. So
Yeah.
With that being said, yeah, I'm gonna put Trulex and Chicho as well. I'm with you there.
I hate to do it because Ketty and
I'm chalking it down to
Seti,
Offspawn. It's just because of Offspawn.
Yeah,
just say that.
Yeah.
It's nothing else.
I mean, sure,
They
you
know
also have the
everything we
pressure
say.
of qualling globals too, right? They want it more.
True.
Kami said they don't need it.
If both teams were on con, what would you say then?
But they're not.
No, but the hypothetical. The hypothetical.
Yeah, but they're
We
not.
don't have to answer that.
Yeah, but they're not, mate.
And
so-
I answered it
yeah.
already. I said Truly Chicho much better than Kami said. I'll say it. I mean,
See, yeah,
Levin,
someone's standing
Levin
on
could hide
business.
behind
No,
the con spot. but-
No. I genuinely, as much as like we're memeing here, the consness is like the deal breaker for me here. Like it actually is the deal breaker.
yeah.
I would still expect come grand finals, like a lot of the like shitty small mistakes that Seti and Kami are making that mean their end games aren't like what we usually expect. Like I'd expect them to iron it out. It's not like I know for a fact it's not an ideological problem. Like they're not struggling to understand the meta. Like it's just in semis they're just making mistakes. Like one person goes to fucking crash pad, the other person, the crash pad gets shot out before they rotate. Now they're getting held. Now you're dead. Like it's like small little things like that are really messing them up. I don't think it's like it's part of why guys like Queasy are probably so like high on Seti and Kami because he knows like they have a good meta read this season.
Yeah.
Like they're not struggling to understand the game. They were locked into what the meta was at the very beginning before most other teams were. So like that's not the problem for them. It's going to be how do those Osborne battles look and are both of them going to be on point come grand finals is the real problem. Whereas Trueless and Chicho, you don't have to worry about that stuff. They've both been in better form, so you're more confident that come grand finals, they're both going to do better.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think about the added thing you said there, Boop, of just like, there's more pressure on them because of, like, they do need a better performance because of the globals qual thing. So,
I mean, they've shown that they wanted it more. I mean, Trulex and Chicho played every scrim session this season. Like, they're on lock. Kami and Seti, I mean, they used to be the scrim grinders. They haven't played. It's just been Kami by himself.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
So nice dodge of the answer. Of who would be better
So basically, being contested.
because there is obviously like the last thing I'd say. There is obviously we talked about already that they might become uncontested, right? For Kira and YCY, you said they're already looking Mount Olympus, they're looking Kami split. Like there is a world they do just get uncontested, so it's something to keep into consideration.
this might sound hypocritical based on everything that just happened, but I do think they'll be on come grands.
Okay, so then who do you think is going to come higher then? So we got.
I'm still saying Trulex.
I'm still saying.
Yeah,
Trulex.
I'm still saying. Yeah, I'm sticking with what I'm saying, but yeah, I do think they'll be on come grands.
Oh, we want to hear you say it, Levin.
Yeah, we just want to hear you say.
You
I'm
guys
sticking with
want
us
to
saying I'm going to say it.
You guys just want me to get in trouble. Nathan and CZB versus Garrus and Chari. Garrus and Chari versus Nathan and CZB. Who we putting through here?
I think this feels like the battle of the mid after the performance this weekend, right? Like
Nathan.
Yeah, I feel like this one, like in my mind, before this weekend, they're both very strong contenders. Like, oh my god, yeah, Garrus and Hari, so much experience. Nathan CZB is so good this season. Now I'm just like, man, who's just gonna underperform more?
I go.
I think the Nathan's underperformance in semis is a bit overblown. Looking at their results, they actually came 7th in upper one. That's effectively second,
Yeah.
right?
And then they
So
came
that's actually
second
really
in
good.
upper 3, right?
Upper 2 they did bad, 30th.
Yeah.
And then they could only play lowers where they came second. So they just had one bad round and 2 really good ones. So it wasn't that bad at all, I don't think.
Lock in Nathan CZB for me then.
Yeah,
So I'm
lock
going
in
to
Nathan CZB.
Yeah.
Also, but I'm really curious because again, it's like they surely can't have another grands where like they go into it looking strong. This is now what the 3rd season in a row.
At least second
where-
season they've looked strong.
Yeah.
Like where they've looked strong the season leading up to grands. Like they have to have a good grands performance now. Like it just has to be. Snazy and Podosai versus Dexy and Eclipse. Who we putting through here?
Snazy.
Dexy and Eclipse. I think. I don't know. I just think of that team contestant. I feel like they're just gonna have such a good, like, such a nice time. Not even contest, but like if the team's nearby, like landing at the vault. But man, this one's close. This one's really close.
Uncontested doesn't help you as much.
But not contested, but like
No.
someone near to get searched. Because if they get all of that
Okay.
uncontested, you have no one in the area.
Yeah, yeah.
Tag, yeah.
There was a time, like, last season or two where contested wasn't as bad as it was in the past, just because you would get that early surge.
I think
But this season is
But now
not-
it's just not enough.
Yeah,
surge. You
yeah.
get 200 landing on them, and that's
The risk of it is not worth
Not
it.
enough.
Yeah. I'm inclined to
Yeah.
say Snazy and Podesai here because I think you like uncon Mount Olympus, but again, do I think they stay uncon is then becomes a question.
Go on.
How did Snazy and Podesai do last grands? I can't remember. Let me check
18th.
this. 18th last grands.
Dexy Eclipse were 50th or something like that. Or maybe 20. Maybe they had a worse one, like 20 something. But they were near the middle of the pack.
Because I don't really
were
remember what
17th.
ended up happening.
17. Yeah.
Ooh.
One
Or
above,
one
one
place.
above.
One
Oh.
above.
And
Interesting.
then the
Whoever
season
made this
before
bracket
that, they
cooked.
top 10. So
Yeah. Got
See, my issue with Snazy Podesai this season is whatever happens, even if they're uncontested Olympus, for some reason they're always in a fight in Olympus. Every single time we swap to them in broadcasts, they're always in a fight in Olympus. I don't know how the hell they're fighting people in Olympus in third zone,
Like,
but
why
they're still
there
there.
instead of on a cactus?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's actually, it's not the big question of why someone fighting them. Why are they in Olympus in
Yeah,
second zone?
yeah,
You've got to be-
yeah,
there are
yeah.
so many other
I'm
positions
so
you could be in.
confused by the playstyle. So I feel like Dex and Eclipse feel like they understand the game more, but Snazy Podesai are the better team, if that makes sense, right? Like Dex and Eclipse have more potential to just dud it because they're not as good players. Snazy and Podesai feel like better players, but I just
They're
don't understand what
married.
the hell they're doing every game.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? No one really talks about is Eclipse got banned for like 3 weeks. This, like, as in he got his account like deactivated, like actually like halfway through because someone else played. Either he was on like a boot camp or whatever. He got his account deactivated halfway through, and he got it back just before FNCS. So actually, there was a world where they weren't even going to play FNCS.
It was going to be Dexy Moneymaker.
Yeah, it was going to be
Which is,
Dexy Moneymaker, right? And so
Yeah.
it is good. Like, it's a good comeback from that where he actually thought he wasn't even going to be able to play. But yeah, I think that's a really good point you say about the whole why are Snazy and Podsai in Mount Olympus in second zone. Like, that is actually the craziest thing because it's like no one really rotates into Mount Olympus. No
But
one's
they do.
near Mount. Yeah,
They do,
apparently
though.
they do. Yeah, apparently teams just crash pad in and have a field day. But like, yeah, I don't know. I've never been. I'm just not sold on Podsai and Snazy yet. It's weird. They're always like feel like cash cups they do decent enough. They're just decent.
Well,
I feel
last
like that's
season
a-
they were like just getting
Bodied.
wiped by Tayson and Venno, and then in Grands actually ended up doing pretty alright out of the spot. So
yeah.
If they make late game, they're good, but like, do they make late game good consistently enough compared to that Dexy and Eclipse? I'm gonna say no.
you've sold me. I'll go Dexter and Eclipse with you, I guess.
One of the UK teams, we got someone.
Well, now we're one of them. They're gonna knock each other out in next round.
Yeah.
Voltaix and Cool versus Nebs and Kiduo.
Oh, this. Like, these whoever made this bracket cooked. I can't lie. This is whoever. Yeah.
Whoever
made this
they are,
bracket-
I don't know who they are.
whoever they are, this random guy. Yeah. Like this
Mm.
is insanely close. I'm on the hype train of Voltaix and Cool, but a Nebs Uncon Grim.
Do you think
I
Grim's
just-
going to work out well? Like with all the teams, I mean, like every split around them is like 3 teams or something, isn't it?
Yeah, but
It's
it's
a bit
like
crazy.
I feel yeah,
Is
it's
that
maybe,
good or bad for them?
I feel like that will be beneficial. Maybe it's too crazy. Maybe there's just too many teams like actually
Question
taking
is
their
like, is someone just going to go and land Grim instead of being triple conned?
I mean,
Next,
surely there's other spots. Like there's still like 3.
Yeah, but it's like
spots
next to
on
it, so that like they know the area.
True. Oh, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, Voltaix and Cool, from what I watch, have a very consistent game plan. It's the same every game. You watch them; it's literally the same. They pad on to the same area every game. They just trade with the same teams. It's great. What you said earlier is great. The fact we're just openly just saying, yeah, they just trade with the same teams every game. You know, it's the same. They've got the same search strats every game.
The only surprise is that the drop map doesn't have little squares around every cactus of what's claimed.
Yeah, true.
That's what they
We
really
need-
should
My
have,
cactus, yeah.
People have been tweeting that I was like landing here plus these 3 cactuses. Get off them.
That's class.
But I would go. I think I'd go Voltiax and Cool.
I'm going Nebs and Kaduo. I think that edge draw spot, no matter how good they played, I think in a 95 Surge lobby or whatever, I think it's still going to be really hard to play. I think Nebs and Kaduo have better positioning to do stuff even when things go wrong. I think Cool and Voltaix, if things go wrong, there's no getting out of it from those spots.
I want to be a hipster, but I'm going to go Nebs and Kiduo because for the most part, getting into my tinfoil hat era, I think we'll see a lot of North zones. I think Epic will rig it so we don't get too many South
Essentially
zones.
the script.
Wait, they rig the new places, right? So it's all pulling pirate ship.
Ooh,
Yeah, true.
maybe.
Sent
I mean, we had a zone
Maybe.
go straight
They
to the pirate
get a
ship.
bonus
Yeah.
from Disney. if
Ooh.
they-
I mean,
Takada
Takada even mentioned it. He was like,
Pirates.
man, it would be so good if it went
He literally
straight
said
to the
it,
pirate
yeah. I was
ship.
like,
And boom, it went straight to the pirate ship, you know?
Bruh, when he said that, I
come
remember in the back, me and
on.
Minnie, I was like, what is he waffling about, man? Like, it's like what are we talking about here?
They literally
He
just
was
need
so
the
excited
music
about
playing.
it too. They'll be so hyped,
That's
guys.
what I was like.
Oh
I was
my
like,
God,
what
this
are you
guy's
saying,
getting
bro?
Being paid.
Yeah, no, Nebs and Kiduo, I think, like, both, the last time, they both missed last Grands, funny enough, but, like, the last time both of those guys were in Grands, like, they were pretty alright. Like, they both have plenty of Grands experience and have done decent in Grand Finals. Again, like, sort of to add to what you're saying, Boob, is like, do I believe Voltex and Cool, if things don't go their way, are gonna, like, heave it back in? Like, I feel like Nebs and Kiduo are more likely to do that than those two are. So
Sure.
I think Nebs and
Too
Kiduo are
buff.
like the more obvious pick there. So
Their
I'll
bad
go
games will be better, to be fair, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have the experience.
Prism and Casper versus Ping and Wox.
And we're off the hype train. Ping and
No more
Ping and
UK
Wox, sir.
teams.
Ping
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
Wox.
Ping and
yeah,
Wox.
Ping
Ping and
Wox,
Wox.
yeah.
Let's not do too much
Ain't
here.
coming
Yeah.
home.
Vidil and Reason versus Queasy and Thomas.
Queasy and Thomas.
So the thing I was thinking about with Queasy Thomas, I was actually going to mention the next round because I think they'll go through here, but I think they were one of the more adaptable teams this weekend, right? We saw the progression of the surge base on that cactus to the west of that lake. And like it started off with a little tiny surge base, little thing, and then it became larger and larger and larger, and it finally flourished into a massive fucking chode base towards the end. But the issue with that is everyone now knows exactly what slurp plant Thomas and Queasy box up on, right? So like if a team like Nathan and CZB that maybe would be able to rotate out of the spot potentially quicker than Queasy and Thomas, I'm putting hypotheticals here. Like their surge plan can just be destroyed by one team taking the slurp plant because their goal now is to just go south as fast as possible to that slurp plant and box up on it. If someone else changes up the way that they play or they VOD view at all, hey, there goes the one surge plan. And what surge plan can they now take? I think a lot can go wrong for Queasy Thomas's grand finals. I think it's very, very fragile for them.
Thanks for giving teams ideas to grief them.
I mean, if I thought of it, they would have thought of it. I didn't even VOD review.
Yeah. What has happened to our esport, by the way? I'm hearing like the teams know what cactus that Queasy Thomas are gonna base on. Like,
I mean, if you watch one, you see it's the same cactus every game,
I know. It's well, we finally found out what Queasy was talking about. You know that early in the season where he's like landing classy best spot with like the shush emoji, and this is why he's having cooked up, which is just get away from classy. Yeah, get away from classy as quick as possible, basically. But yeah, I mean everything we said about Video and Reason as well, right? They are the hardest team to predict because if you're going off what you see, they can't get much further in a power ranking or a leaderboard or anything like that. But if you take into consideration, they're one of the main teams that if you look back on like old placements in grand finals, that's probably closer to where they placed. If you look at where they placed in the season, they placed nowhere near how they placed throughout the entire season. So I think Queasy and Thomas definitely, as you said, adaptable, have a good read, and they're going to be one of the teams who I think are not favorites for sure, but definitely going to be towards the top 5 for sure. So I'd put Queasy and Thomas.
Funnily enough, I think this is the most boring matchup in the whole bracket because they're both two teams who've made globals. They're both two teams where it's like there's nothing to go off based off of the season because come grand finals, it's a different story every single time. And so now I'm just at the conclusion of like, now I'm making my conclusion based off of who do I think shows their better grand final self. And
but you know what is interesting? Although they've both made globals, they both have a player who hasn't won FNCS.
Ooh, okay, yeah. Reason and Thomas
True.
haven't won FNCS yet, and I don't think that's happening this season. So
No,
still
there you
boring for me.
They can still try.
They can still try. True, they can still try. They're saving
have
it
some
till
motivation
globals.
now.
You know.
Yeah,
Imagine
true.
one of them winning their first FNCS title at the global
That's the Thomas
championships.
storyline. But
Yeah.
get him to win globals. Hey.
Yeah, I'll go with Kuzi and Thomas. Thomas here. I do think on the topic of like messing up with people's cacti, we always see like a bunch of like people making like sneaky plays on bases, and like you try to sneak up on a base and you try to do, like teeny strat type, strategies.
Yeah.
The potential for that with cacti is going to be really interesting this season, because I do think there's like a lot of like people who base up on cacti where like you can actually maybe like camp underneath the cliff when they come, they come from like a certain side, so you can actually like there's gonna be really cool things. Yeah, lots of bushes around. Like you can cook up like really good teeny strat type things.
Yeah,
this
this happened in NA.
Queasy this podcast now, basically.
Yeah,
no.
This happened in NA with Yomzo and Tayson in one of the games, right, where Bakra and Pars were in Nitrodome. Yomzo and Tayson were based outside, and Bakra and Pars just snuck into the bottom of their surge base on the cacti. And as Tayson got cracked or tagged on top of the surge base, he just dropped down and just got insta-killed as soon as he got dropped down. So stuff like that is going to happen a bunch this weekend.
100%. Like there will be a team that does well because they cook up like really fun strats like that, for sure. Vico and Flixie, Mustache Malibuka. What are we thinking?
Oh, fucking hell.
Is this the hardest one now?
Yes, I think this is the hardest one.
Yeah, probably.
To me, I don't think a map's ever been set up better for a team than Malibuka Mursash this France. I think you have
last season.
No. This map right now is in with like how many teams around them are contested, how quick it is to be able to just get good loot and go in third party. You can get the coins so quickly, get the shotguns off the bots. You can guarantee get loot pretty quickly, and then go key Destra Imperials or Polish and watch it. Voices, who actually for the most part split that spot, which was weird. In upper bracket, they split it every game to the southwest of Redline Rig, right? And if they can go push that, or obviously push Little Dirty Dark, or even go towards Cami split, right, where two teams, if Cami decides to start fighting, they have a landing spot which is quick to loot, 3 landing spots around them which are contested, and obviously landing it one of the best surge spots in that area, in a completely open area. Like, I think this season, this finals for Malibu and Mursash, I feel like it's set up beautifully for them.
I absolutely agree that it looks perfect, but they just haven't had the results in any tournament this season. It just doesn't make sense. They were uncon in every round of semis, right?
Combat no Aqua.
They were Combat no Aqua and third partied by Hydro and Kaito.
Okay. Still, they were 14th, 13th, and 10th in the 3 upper brackets.
Yeah.
Which is honestly really poor for who they are and the loot they're getting there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally the same as last season, right? Like Grimgate, uncontested, Malibu and Murstache. Oh my god, they're winning FNCS. Grimgate's the best. Womp womp. Merchants Malibuka, I feel like they haven't been convincingly good for a little while now, although they're always going to be in contention to win the FNCS. I feel like they're just coasting because they don't care about FNC. They're doing global, doing Saudi. They're caring about ESL. They're caring about dropping Venno. Like that's the stuff that they care about right now. They don't care about FNCS.
Caring about dropping Venno is nasty from you.
I'm obviously joking, but their focus is on other things right now. I don't think they'll go into this FNCS with any prep. I think they're just saying, you know what, we're queuing in, let's go, baby, and then just do the thing. And then they'll probably end up placing 5th or 6th or 7th. And then Vico Flakes here, I think, are more of a lock for a top 3 with everything considered. So I'm going Vico Flakes in this one.
I'm very conflicted here. I'll go Vico Flakes as well, but the reason I'm conflicted is because Mustache Malibuka, last season we did this exact same thing like you said, right? Because obviously they had Grim and Con. I remember when we were doing the brackets, we coped ourselves into, I think we put them in the final, right?
We put them in the top.
Yeah, they got deep when we did it last time, right? But again, I'm not gonna cope myself anymore. Realistically, they shouldn't do that great, but they'll probably still finesse the top 10. The reason I'm very conflicted though is because I don't know. I'm getting this really bad feeling Vico and Flixie don't do as good as we think. I'm
Yeah,
getting this really bad. Like I'm getting this really bad feeling that like they like pull out like an 11th or something, which would still be enough to make globals, but like it's just not gonna be the top 3 that you think because of how they've played so far this season. I'm still not a Reckless Railways believer. You
This is
can't
what I was
turn me
gonna
into
say.
believer. I'm never gonna be a believer. It's just not the spot. Like, and again, a thing I'm worried about is just the fact that we all have hyped up Vico as being this crazy fragger, and he is, because you watch the game and he very clearly is. But like the last couple grands when playing with Pink, in grands, we didn't see that same level of crazy fighter Vico that we see in weeks before, right? And it's like, maybe things are different now with Flixie. Maybe now he feels more empowered, he feels more confident, he feels less pressure, and that will be the difference maker and allowing us to see like a crazy Vico finals performance. But that's a lot of what ifs. So yeah, I'm just getting a weird feeling about Vico and Flixie, but I do hope they do good because I want to see them at globals. But
for sure.
So
I would have gone for Mustache and Malibuka just on the basis of like how it is set for them and the Reckless Railways incident of the past 2 grand finals, right? The problems we have seen. It is going to be if they can finally. It looks like because this is what we always say is like, like they look good from it in cash cups and whatever, and then it comes to grand finals and it's suddenly like Reckless Railways is the worst landing spot on the map. Why would anyone land there? No, you get no surge, no one rotates around you. But I hope for this grand finals it works and they have everything sorted out, because it would be a shame you get Uncon 3 grand finals and you could just not figure out how to play Surge from it.
Right.
I mean, they did fine in semis.
So yeah, but they made grands the past 2 times and they did fine with Surge there. It's like it's that is the biggest what if for me for them is, as you said, Levin, is not even the fighting thing, because I do think it's completely different. Obviously, playing in your own comms as well, your own language, is going to be much more comfortable. But the Surge, it's going to be what happens if they die to Surge one game, or if they die in a fight, or they get scuffed because of it. Is how bad does the mentality go from there? You know, it's going to be very interesting to watch.
I was gonna say the biggest mental battle is for Vico himself. Like as someone that's friends with Vico and he always comes to my chat after every single game, the amount of things this man types when things go wrong is insane. It's like, fuck it, I'm winning next game. Fuck it, I'm winning next game. I'm doing winning next game. Like I'm griefing. I mean, I don't care. I'm griefing CZB and Nathan. They fought me on the bridge. Fuck these guys. Like he has horrible mental.
He's too emotional.
Which I think, he's very emotional. I think that stems from him having a lot of high expectations for himself and having a lot of pressure on himself to succeed, because he's had a lot of opportunity to do so, and now the pressure I think is less. Obviously, we talked about the pressure playing on the Pink with Blood X peering over you. It's a scary man. So him, I think he's gonna be a lot more relaxed now. But when things go tough and when things go badly, it's up to Vico to pick himself up, which is, I think, the biggest question. That could be their downfall this season for sure.
Yeah.
No. All right, back up to the top. Swizzy and Vanyak versus Trulex and Chicho. I'm putting Swizzy and Vanyak through.
Swizzy.
I'm putting them through.
More kills. They just kill too much.
Yeah,
they win games. They kill people. They're pretty good at the game.
Trulex pops the mecha. Swizzy Vanyak pops head. Boom.
Yeah.
Boom. Simple as that. Hope to see Trulex and Chicho in globals, and I do think they'll make globals this season, so should be nice. Nathan and CZV versus Dexy and Eclipse.
I'm saying Dexy Eclipse on this one. I think Nathan CZB, I think, get beaten up by Sneezy Podosize, so by proxy, Dexy Eclipse, I think, go through here.
I'm going to carry on the Nathan hype train that I'm perpetuating through this bracket.
My Volchex Cool Kid hype train ended. I think I'm going to join the Nathan CZB. They have to. This has to be the grand finals. It cannot be a year of these guys are good in cash cups. These guys qualified to everything. Series point leaderboard up. They're qualifying to grands pretty comfortably. And then then it gets to this one and it's like, it can't go bad again. Surely not. They are.
Brother, you can take the duo out of Archie, but you can't take the Archie out of the duo. Nathan is bound by life.
He did milk in one of the earlier rounds where he just jumped off the surge base. He
died.
Yeah. So
Boop, can you sell me? Can you sell me on an Eclipse and Dexy?
Dexy Eclipse have pretty much the entire map to themselves with a random team whose name you can't pronounce. That's number one. Number two, they've had countless experiences in previous grand finals where they've just done good. They outplayed Stacey and Polster. We already mentioned that before. They have a top 10 this season as well. Nathan CZB, when the going gets hot, the heart gets going. I don't know what the saying is.
What if
This
I
is,
just-
but like Dexter Eclipse just feel like they everyone counts them out, but they always perform. Nathan the CZB, everyone counts them in, and they never perform. When the lights get bright, they get punched in the face.
No.
The
Is
last
inspirational?
2 grands have been bad for them, man.
No, but this season's different. This
What's
season's
different?
much-
Tell me what's different.
Just
Tell
look
me.
at what
You
happened to the-
tell me,
Yeah.
Harry. What's different?
Look
this
at the finals. Like, as much as we said last season, their finals performance was good. This season finals performances are completely way better. We saw them last season. I feel like they were more towards like the top 10 and maybe top 15s or 20s. This season, it feels like they're close to winning rounds. You know, they're getting seconds and thirds. They're actually hugely performing, which not only shows that, you know, they have the consistency be that high on the leaderboard, but it shows that if stuff does get tough, they can fix it and make the bad games better, because you can't finish that high on so many different finals leaderboards without having tough games with not having DMRs or not being able to manage Surge or these sort of things.
I just think we should not look at. We shouldn't be like, oh, well, it's the same as last season's Cash Cups and they did badly in Grands, so
Yeah.
it'll be the same now. We should see the last Grands as the exception.
Yeah.
And look
But
at
it's not
how well
last
they've
grand,
done
it's the
literally
last
ever.
It's a
2
different
grands.
meta.
It's a different
meta.
game though in Grands. We
It's-
can't pretend like
it's-
dual Cash Cups and Grands
It's
are the
not
same format.
Yeah,
No,
it's
but
the last
they're
2
not the
grands.
they're not the
They're
same.
not, but you just can't be that good in Euro Cash Cups and semis and qualifiers without having the potential to do really well in Grands.
Exactly. And as much,
V-Sub qualified dual Cash Cup finals. Checkmate.
yeah, as much as Dex and Eclipse, they I do think are underrated hugely by a lot of teams. I feel like no one ever talks about Dex and Eclipse, to be honest, right? But I think Nathan and CCD, this is the season. Like, it is they have, to me, shown enough in finals lobbies. Like, the reason we're hyping up Vico and Flixie is because of their finals lobbies. Yet Nathan and CCB have the same finals lobbies, and we're saying they're not
Yeah,
as
but
good as
Vico and
Dex and
Flix are so
Eclipse.
much more convincing because it's
Are
off of
they?
individual
Like, they're
talent.
not.
What makes Nathan and CZB good players?
But they're consistent. They make consistent end games. They constantly get in top 5s. They are
Yeah,
consistent.
but you can't
good.
compare them to Vico and Flixie because you know the individual talent of Vico and Flixie, right? Like, it's
But-
2 different comparisons there.
But Vico and
the one
Flixie
thing
have
I'll
also
say,
had 2 bad grands back to back. You know, so it's the same.
but it was
Different
different,
duos.
but different circumstances in both cases. Where like
Yeah.
you would say for Flixie, the problem when with Janice, because of the surge problems, to compensate, they probably needed someone more fraggy. Now he's playing with Vico. With Vico in the past, you'd maybe say when it come Grands, when they needed more damage, like he was feeling a bit in a shell of himself. The dynamics between him and Pink weren't always great.
Yeah.
Now he's playing with someone where he's more empowered, more confident, more likely to succeed. The one thing I'll say in Nathan CZB's favor, one thing I really like about them is like in end games, like they are they are playing chain together in every end game.
Yeah.
Like they are.
Yeah.
Oh, I've not seen 2 players on each other like that in a long time in their end games. Like they are actually playing chain together in every end game. And their end games look really clean a lot of the time.
It reminds
It's
me of
too- it's
Setting
too-
Cameo
Just,
Evolve.
just remember what Harry said about Peter Bon Pollo last season. The
No,
prediction,
no.
it's a bad run of predictions, man. You
Oh
can't
my
believe
God.
if he puts
No,
his
hold
chips
on.
in, it's over,
We're
man.
not hearing this, because I'm hearing this bad predictions. I think, because this is about the Queasy and Thomas as well, that everything, I maybe over-exaggerated how far I think they placed, but the read on how they played was exactly how it was. That Osborne was going to be...
And as much as they were
scuffed.
triggered, they'd agree with you.
Yeah, like the
Like
Osborne was a scuff situation,
Yeah.
which the Surge ended up being fine in the end, but their endgames were the worst part by far. It was. They didn't have good endgames to be, and that's fair to say. They got to a lot of endgames, but they weren't that good, and that's fair to say, right? But Nathan and CCP, they do have good endgames. The biggest problem for them will be Surge, but when they get to endgame, they are so mat efficient. When you think of Nathan, right, and you think he's a crazy fragger, it's not how they play at all. It's just they are the most mat efficient team. They barely get refreshes.
Yeah.
It feels like they just get deep into endgames. They're like Chicho and Trulix in the way they get deep into endgames without having to do too much. I would say, yeah, obviously they're nowhere near to the level of Trulix and Chicho when it comes to Surge or map management in the mid game. But I just think Nathan and CCB this season have shown another level to them in comparison to last season, which is improving, not the same mistakes that they had previously.
Okay, I'm sold. Let's get through because I want to get to NA. I'm sold.
Come
We're
on.
gonna have this easy through. Nebs and Kidduo versus Ping and Wox.
Ping and walks.
Ping and
Wox.
walks. Ping and
Okay,
Woks.
Ping and Woks. Okay, so a bit of I
Yeah.
thought there was going to be more debate there. Queasy and Thomas versus Vico and Flixie. This should be interesting.
Is this closer?
Fix.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is this like? I feel like this is less of a conversation than Mustache and Malabuka. I feel.
Malabuka Mercers are by far better than Queasy Thomas this season.
Yeah. Yep. So
Yeah.
it's Vico and Flixie.
In spawn fight situation. Like I said, like I think there's so much more that can go wrong for Queasy Thomas in this situation.
Okay, I think that's fair. Vico and Flixie I'd put through as well then. Back
This
up
top
then.
4, by the way. In this top 4, we've got.
What the fuck is this top for?
It's the nature of brackets. It's the nature,
of the brackets.
Some of the bracket matchups early on were crazy. Yeah. Some really good teams got knocked out. It happens. Swizzy and Vanyak versus Nathan CZB. Swizzy and Vanyak.
Look, I'm not even going to defend this. Just move them through.
Ping and Woks versus Vico and Flixie.
Vico
Flixie.
Vico Flixie.
Yeah, sure.
And
guys.
I feel like
Wait,
hold
on. Is there you got? I mean, there's a fair conversation. You are right in we made it that quick, but if you look on just results based this season, it is a very, very close level between Ping and Woks and Vico.
Ping and Woks have had some great placements this season. They've looked pretty alright.
The thing is also Vico Flixie's consistency is altered by the fact that good teams also win, right? So they can no longer play anymore. So maybe on the pecking order when Pings and Woks won a game, Vico and Flixie, maybe they would have been outplaced by them if they kept playing. There's a conversation for that, but Vico Flixie.
That is a fair point that as you get further into the tournaments, the semifinals, the lobbies get worse and worse. Yeah, and
you're missing
so even for someone like Q and D or
teams.
Q, it's weird because you finish a weekend like this and someone asks you who impressed you. Well, the teams that impress you win a game early, so you don't get to see much of them. So it's the only teams you get to see is teams who did okay enough to not win a game, and they showed enough. They got to show enough games, so there is a conversation for that for sure.
But it's not one we're going to have.
No.
And so the reigning champion, Swizzy and Vanyak, beat Vico and Flixie here, right?
The funny thing is that I feel like there's such a gap there, too, between those two.
I think
they're the
it's
two
a big
best teams
gap.
on this bracket, but I feel like it's not close that Swizzy and Vanyak are better than Vico and Flixie.
I don't know.
Do you
if they're
think
the
Vico and
champions
Flixie
in
are the
this bracket.
second best team coming into Grand Finals?
I don't think they are.
Who do you think that is? Trudex and Chicha?
I think Julius and Chicho are the better team.
I'd put Trudex
I
and
would-
Chicho
yeah.
above them, yeah.
I'll bet more money on them because they just again Trudex and Chicha. I don't see anything going wrong for them. They know they're not gonna get contested. They know how to play the game. Trudex has 6 medkits in the inventory. He's gonna pop them first final moving zone. He's gonna get third place that game. Vico and Flixie, they're either gonna get 15th or they're gonna die to Surge or some weird way. Vico's gonna freak out, type a bunch of messages in my chat. Or they're gonna just dominate and they're gonna have the same sort of confidence. I think there's so much more that can go wrong for Vico Flixie that I like Levin said, I'm kind of scared for them because they're their own biggest enemy. Yeah.
You built them up so high, you're now worried that if they do bad.
Honestly, that is a genuine problem that I feel like we've seen this in previous seasons, and we've almost made this mistake in previous seasons where a team looks good until we build them up, and because in theory everything does seem to make sense, right? But then when you dig deeper, you're like, there's some problems there. Kinch, do you think these are the two best teams in the bracket?
I think yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I know you're going to say Cash Cups, whatever. Semi-finals aren't great quality, but you can only beat the people that are in your lobby, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
who are you going to say? Who is it going to be?
Vico and Flixie's their run that they're on right now, okay? Euro Cash Cup number 4, first place. Euro Cash Cup number 5, first place. Then upper bracket 1, 6th place, which is first on consistency. Upper bracket 2, 6th, which is first on consistency. They literally kind of won 4 finals in a row. I know the game winners might have won, but we'll never know.
Yeah.
And then second in upper 3 of 3 games. This run is really crazy. It's not just they're good and they get top 5s. They've literally gone first, second or something.
No, for sure. That's fair.
I agree. There's a lot of question marks there, and maybe they won't even get a top 5. But they've shown that they're good enough to beat Swizzy and Vanyak, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Overall, I would rate Swizzy slightly above them.
Yeah.
For this grand.
And I think we all would.
But it's not a done deal.
Yeah.
So Swizzy and Vanyak through on the last one. Swizzy and Vanyak
are the
The
winners.
first back-to-back dual cash FNtasia winners, if it happens.
could be.
Never happened before.
If that was to happen, this Swizzy run, we are putting in the history books. This is
Swizzy's up there.
Yeah.
Go debate.
I mean,
It's up
3
there.
FNCSs.
Wait, what did you say? What did you say, Harry? Got the bits up there?
Well, yeah, but
I
you
thought
also
got
won
longevity.
FNTasia's.
I
You
thought-
also
I
won
thought- I
FNTasia's
thought
in
you got
chapter 2.
longevity.
No,
I
but you
thought
also
you
won
got
chapter 2
longevity. Where's his
FNTS.
longevity?
You already won chapter 2.
Where's his longevity? Where is it?
Where?
Yeah, in
It's
chapter
on
2.
Asia.
That was literally like
Oh,
4
thanks.
years
Ah,
ago.
I'll put
Yeah,
a fuck
thanks.
Booga in there as well. Just for
Yeah,
that. So we
yeah.
have it
Yeah,
there.
that's the longevity.
The one guy in the
chapter 2.
comments.
Yeah.
Don't
Cheers.
sleep my guy Booga.
Okay, Swizzy and Vanyak. Well, we're gonna do the NA one now, but Kinch, thank you for joining us. Do you have any final thoughts? Anything you want? Any predictions you want to give out? Any crazy stats
Yeah,
you want to give?
I want to give my NA prediction
Okay.
as nobody else wants it.
Okay. No.
For us to say.
No.
We can swap places if
Blame-
you want.
blame
You know,
that.
like if you really want to.
Yeah.
What is
Savage
it?
and Mongrel come 45th.
What?
No,
Get them
I'm
on the
just joking.
Oh my God.
Okay, this is the one season I probably wouldn't have put Savage really low.
Where
It's
would
a
you
shame.
put them?
But how
around?
high?
Well, fine,
I
fine.
can't-
Easier
That's
question.
standard
Do they
business.
quote globals? Yes or no?
Okay, so assuming that they're uncon,
Yeah. Do they quote globals?
I think that they should be aiming for globals. That would be seen as
Well,
a
that's
success.
such a
Everyone's
politician
aiming for
answer.
globals.
Yeah,
Everyone's aiming
I'd
for
say-
it.
Everyone's aiming
All
for
right, no,
globals.
but I would say like anything around top 15 is a good performance. Top 10 is a very good performance for them.
Okay.
Do you think they're likely to get a very good
Yeah,
performance?
yeah. We need.
I- Yeah, I think
Okay.
that's around where they should finish. I would
Okay.
rank them around top 15.
Just give us
Okay.
a number, Kinch. Give us a number.
13th.
So they make
13.
globals.
Ooh.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
If they're uncon.
Okay.
If they can't do.
All right. I like that. All right. Well, thank you very
We'll
much.
see where
Kinch,
they
for
are in the
joining.
bracket.
Appreciate you as always. You should give yourself the shout outs. Where can people check you out? Kinch Premium plugs. Let's hear it all, man.
Kinch Analytics on Twitter. KinchAnalytics.com. Kinch Analytics, my Discord, where I have Kinch Premium and all that. Can help you out with all your tournaments. There you go.
Just Kinch Analytics everywhere. Now let's do NA. Boom.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Bye bye.
Boom. And just like that, Vivid has arrived. Welcome to the show, Vivido. How you doing, bro?
Good, man. Yeah, excited to join you guys, talk a little bit about the NA action. I heard the EU talk was a little crazy, so I don't know if we're going to be able to top that. But yeah, excited to talk about grand finals this weekend.
Yeah, man. The Nathan and CZB versus Dexy and Eclipse debate were just so juicy and spicy, man. I can't wait, man. Honestly. Before we get into the NA bracket, let's talk about the obvious elephant in the room. You came to a very EU-dominated podcast here, Vivid. So naturally, we had to bring up the fact that all of the EU players that have moved to NA are in the grand finals. Oh my goodness. And also Alex and Worthy OC. But everybody that moved to NA basically this season is in grand finals. I mean, to not be too territorial and party lines,
But we will.
Okay.
Harry will for sure. I know Harry's waiting, mate.
I'm just waiting for the bracket. I'm just waiting for the bracket.
I mean, big congrats to all these guys. Like, for a lot of them, it was seen as a big risk to move over. Some of them, I think, going into the season, if we're being honest, I know we sat here when we talked about it, some of them we didn't actually think would even make grands. So, you know, for all of these guys to make it through is really impressive, and congrats to all of them. Yeah, what did you guys think of all of these guys making it? Was there anyone that really shocked you?
I mean, I think for me, it's not on that list, but I think Blatcher and Mixon from the way they've been looking. To be honest, even though in week 1 they came second in the finals, just the whole off-spawn situation being contested, I felt like it was going to be a huge problem for them. But in lower 3, they clutched up, and it was good to see, you know, because I think going into the season, when you think about what teams were probably up there, apart from obviously, you know, the Vina, the Taste, and the Pinks, they're probably up there as one of the teams we as EU fans would think would be for sure like set in for a chance for getting globals, right? And they had not had the season that anyone really expected. To see them get to grand finals was really nice to see.
It wasn't pretty either for a lot of these teams, right? Like for Paco and Vortec, they had Redline Rig uncontested, and some didn't even qualify from upper number 3, where you have to place top 25. They managed to make it to 14th and lower number 3, but it was close for a lot of people. And for other people, it was like a slam dunk. Like Alex and Worthy showing up in NA, like I was surprised to see that as well. You know, some of the other guys underperformed a little bit, like Clex and Vano, but hey, the fact that everyone made it, there's not any doubt anymore about the conversation. Like you can put Miro Cooper in our faces from globals or whatever all you want, but this is a slam dunk. You can't talk about this anymore.
Bro, we need to be careful. Grants hasn't started yet. Like, imagine they all bottom like that. That's just the bottom 8. It's just all the teams.
No, literally, they're getting 8 out of 10 of them. They're getting all of them. All 7 EU, 1 OC, and they can take 2 of them, and they can have the other 2 if they'd like.
Vivid, I'm sorry to do this to you, bro. What did you?
I was gonna say, listen, this is the first topic, by the way. 100%, I just got ganked.
Yeah.
But listen, I mean, it really doesn't even feel that bad yet. Like, I'll be honest with you, like if. Depending on how Grand goes, then I feel like we could talk about slam dunks. But like, I feel like the conversation regionally has always been that EU, like generally speaking, has like more skilled. Like they can go further down the leaderboard with more skilled players, whereas like NA is definitely more top heavy. Like we usually got like 5-10 good teams. So finding all of these like moves actually come over and find spots in grand finals to me isn't really that surprising. I mean, if I were to pick 2 that were probably the most surprising, it'd probably be Alex and Worthy, and then Mongrel and Mr. Savage, just simply because like OCE's crazy region, obviously not like all that well respected and stuff like that. So to find them in grand finals, I think is really, really cool. And then Mongrel and Mr. Savage, there's been a big question mark on how they're going to do for like so long now. And the fact that they went ahead and proved that they can make grand finals to me is actually really, really huge. And not to mention, I feel like they've been actually playing pretty well as a recent.
Like we'll get onto it when we get to the bracket, so let's save it a bit. But yeah, Mongo and Savage been cooking.
Yeah.
Before we get to the bracket, last thing I want to touch on, we did this with EU a bit. Was there any teams that like didn't make grands this season that you were a bit surprised about? Some big names that maybe come to mind of people who didn't make it. Scented didn't make it. Obviously, he ended up playing with Hound. He split from Walkers, I believe. Blake and Macwood didn't make it. Cease and Jack didn't make it. Bucky and Okis, Cam and Aminish. Was there anybody that really surprised you not making to grands, Vivid?
So I won't lie, like Bucky and Okis had an incredible like run last year. I feel like they were playing super, super well.
Yeah.
And then, Sented's kind of been this person, and I'm gonna like jumble this into one topic, which is why I'm swapping in between duos here. But Scented also, like, I mean, a lot of people were kind of expecting him to make grands this season and do really, really well. But let's just, talk about the elephant in the room here. Bucky, Okis, and Scented are all in this like same content house.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that it's probably just utter chaos, partying, going out, everything like that. Like, I highly doubt any 3 of them are really locked in for Fortnite. So not to see them make grands, I'm really not surprised, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, you hit the nail on. You literally hit the nail on the head there, right? When you've got all the stuff you're seeing on Twitter going on, right? It's like, how can you really focus on a grand finals? Like, or not in grand finals, the semi-finals going into grand finals, right? I think it was interesting you said about Bucky and Okis. I felt like last season going into globals, they were definitely one of the better teams coming out of NA. I really like their playstyle when it came towards Island, the way they played around it. And I wonder how much the Island points game removed did affect them this year. So if I'm right, I don't think they made a grands this whole year. I'm pretty sure, Bucky and Okis. So
I feel like other factors may have contributed to the fall off of Bucky. A few other things that might have happened. If I don't fully remember what exactly they were.
Yeah,
but the issue stemmed is like I think all those teams they had 1 foot out the door already. Like Cented's been focusing on other things in his life.
Yeah, exactly.
Bucky's been caring more about content stuff as well. And then Okis, I think Okis is the last true grinder of those 3 probably. But when you're in an environment surrounded by people that probably don't care too much about Fortnite anymore, it's kind of hard for you to succeed as well. I think Bucky and Scented, I think they're on the last legs within the Fortnite community, or Fortnite competitive, sorry. I think Okis, he's still got that dog in him. He's still going for something, I think, in the future.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right, then. Let's get to the bracket. It's funny you mentioned like how deep, EU is historically known for being, but when making this bracket, Vivid, I think some of these matchups here are going to get really interesting down the line. Again, as we did with EU, or as we'll try to do here with NA, we'll save a lot of the juicy like points as we go further down the bracket, and we'll try to speed through the first round as much as possible. Starting off with Batman Booger and Rapid versus Skittles and Chubbs. Who do we think places higher?
Just save time, yeah. You know what it
Let's
is.
just save
Come
time,
on,
yeah.
But let's put Batman Booger through.
He has literally his Boog in his name. Come on.
He's
Harry,
the real Boog.
who goes through here? Peterborough and Poyer or Vortec and Paco?
Oh, wait, let's
Go on, Harry.
Who goes through? Triple contested EU player. or washed up Peabot Poyo. No, put Peabot and Poyo.
Get the flag,
Yeah,
get the
put
flag.
Through,
Whoa.
put him through. Put him Peabot and Poyo.
All right,
Like,
Peter Boy,
so-
yeah.
Yeah.
What do we reckon happens with Vortec and Paco? Do you reckon they end up being one of the teams that dips from being triple conned, or do you think we commit there?
For sure.
I don't.
There's no way
I
you
don't
triple
think they're the
contest
team that's gonna dip. I think Death and Edgy pull off more quickly than Vortec and Paco.
True.
And then when that happens, this is the question of, okay, what do we do when we're single contested now? I think that's acceptable. You know, I think we can handle that.
Okay.
I said we for some reason.
We.
We,
Yeah. It's a bit of a
as
bias coming
European,
out. Yeah,
yeah.
clearly. Ritual and Reet versus Day and Sprite. I think you just put Ritual and Reet through.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go with that one. Yeah.
Canada Cooper versus M Pen and Pump.
They seem like pretty good friends when they play Fortnite. I feel like I see them quite close to each other. Just, you know, they're yeah. Well, it's weird, you know. Underworld and Nitrodome, they naturally rotate through each other.
Yeah, no, of course, yeah. It's just
Yeah,
like
you
map
know,
works
they're
out,
right
yeah.
next to each other. Canada and Cooper through.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Yep.
Pink and Mirror versus Chaos Gaming and Chance.
You know, this one I think would be interesting if Chaos Gaming wasn't contested, but I think, you know, Pink and Mirror.
Yeah, I think Pink and Mirror.
Pink and Mirror, but like, you know, there's some question marks.
There's some
sometimes,
questions, but I'm
Yeah.
sure we'll get to it as
Yeah.
the rounds progress. Canada and Cooper, of course. I think you missed it. Canada and Cooper, and then Pink and Mirror.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, Blaha and Mixon versus Kylie and Vert. Some EU on EU action in
White
the first round
Civil
here.
War.
Civil War.
Yeah, they're doing it to us early. The thing here, I think, it just depends if Kali makes a tweet and then Chulik is able to support him on Twitter. You know, the mentor needs to be unlocked there for them. Blah and Mixon have just not looked convincing. I'll be honest. I think Kali and Vert are my go-to dogs here.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's crazy. Like Blatcher and Mix and how good we thought they could have been, and
Or they were.
they haven't just
yeah.
they were. Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't even could have been how good they were in Chapter 4, right? But they haven't shown enough. And Kylie and Vert, apart from this weekend where, you know, the mentor wasn't there too much, they've shown a lot this season. They have shown that they could definitely be in contention for, you know, top half, if not further towards the global spot. So
Uncon Olympus as well.
yeah, I would put Kylie and Vert through.
Yeah.
Okay, Kylie and Vert will put them through.
Yes,
Trashy and Frets, new duo here versus Yapko and Quanti.
Oh,
Can we just get Trashy and Muzz back? Like, can we just
Yeah,
can we get him back
please,
on X-Set?
actually,
Like,
you
come
know,
on.
please. Can we? Because like it's weird. I don't know. It's obviously hard going off of just semis because that's all we have to go off of, really. And there's obviously the one cash cup in the week, but like I didn't think Trashy and Frets like lit up trees by any means. But like I would think they would be a very like in theory, if I'm thinking projecting to what I expect from grand finals, like I expect those two to do really well. But going off of what we saw from semis, I'm not like overly impressed by any means. I'm not sure what everyone else thinks right now though.
I mean, Yapko and Quanti, I feel like they overperformed this weekend. Like, these are two pretty mediocre-ish players in their own regard in terms of recent placements, right? Yapko, not a contender at all in EU when he used to play in EU.
Yep.
Quanti didn't make grands last season. Trashy and Threats feel a lot more decorated, but for some reason that mix just isn't working. Maybe the lack of experience, potentially. I would have probably, if you told me these two duos before this situation or this weekend, I would have said, you know, Trashy Threats probably, you know, the better. But I think Yapko Quanti have some merit here. I don't think Trashy and Threats are working.
Ooh, I was actually gonna hear the Trashy and Threats. I'm not gonna lie, and I think it's actually
It's close.
I think they have a better spot on the map to do better
They're-
from. I think
they're Uncon, right?
Quanti and Yabko, yeah, both of these teams are Uncon. But I feel like Yabko and Quanti have to go through like the gauntlet of Slurp Cacti team because they're all the way southeast, and then Trashy and Threats I think have a little bit more room to move around the map. I don't know, but that's just kind of like shooting a fish in a barrel. Right there. Like, I'm just kind of like throwing stuff out
it's
there.
very close.
It's been weird because at least from the little that I saw with Trash and Frets, it was like the whole aspect of how they would now interact with Clicks and Ven, obviously. Because like the team that lands, because the conversation has always been with the team that lands Pleasant of like, Pleasant's a great spot because if you have it uncon, there's quite a lot of chests there. In theory, you should be able to get to the focus hole, but you never do because there's always another team somewhere that's just going to boss you out of it. This season, it's Clicks and Venno that bosses them out of it. But but like I still think they can do really well. Like again, it's if this was Muzzy and Trashy versus Yapko and Conti, it wouldn't be a conversation for me. It would have been Muzz and Trashy because what they showed. And so like in theory, I'm gonna pick Trashy and Frets off of the mentality of they should do what they looked like they were gonna do when it was Muzz and Trashy. Plus, like Trashy did really well last Grands as well, right? Like he's a player who's done really well in Grands of late. Frets isn't a bad player by any means. He's a top player, and in a meta where like your Surge traded nonstop, you'd think he'd be good. So for that reason, I'm gonna put Frets and Trashy through.
What Vivid said actually reminded me of something I said about Cool Kid and Vortax, is if things go wrong for Yapko Conti, there's no alternative route, right? Like you're stuck in that corner, it's over for you. But for Trash and Threats, there's a lot more adaptability at the draw spot, so I'm actually going to change my mind. Vivid's convinced me. I'm going to go back to Trash and Threats,
yeah, for sure,
I mean, Bryson Bolts.
Go get one.
What were you going to say?
I was going to quickly say that I think Quanti and you said they overperform, but I feel like that's been like, I just looked at their placements. It's kind of been their season the whole time. It's like they get a 16th, then a 32nd, then they get a 5th, then they get a 15th, then a 32nd, then a 5th. It's like they're so up and down every single week. So I just feel like it fully depends on which Yapko and Quanti we get. You know, do they start off with a good game and then they get the momentum going throughout, or do they just have the rough game at the start and, you know, they go through the gauntlet, as you said? So I feel like they could definitely have a pop-off performance, but yeah, Trash and Threats, it's a much easier way to play. We don't get to see pleasant PRs at Uncon a lot, but when it is Uncon, it is a very, very nice landing spot to play at.
I am a pleasant Piazza believer. All right, Bryson Bolts versus Raisin Curly. I'm going Bryson Bolts.
Yes, Bolts.
Any disagreements there? Cool. Bryson Bolts has put them through courts. And then Mongo and Savage versus... Let's put Mongo and Savage through, man. We ain't doing this today, man. Let's put Mongo and Savage through, man. They're the real deal. They are the real deal.
They are the truth.
You're preaching to the choir, man.
We'll see.
Dukes and Sphinx versus Alex and Worthy.
Ooh.
This one's close.
This one is close. This one should be obvious, but the fact that it's not is worrisome. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, Alex and Worthy have been on like a upward trend. Like they came to NA, it looked pretty stinker, and then they've just sort of slowly progressed. I did an interview with Alex and Worthy for like the broadcast, and Alex talked about how like when they came to NA, like they were like playing very scared. Like they weren't like they didn't exert the Alex and Worthy of OCE onto the lobby, you know, that they were in NA. And like as they've played more, they've slowly like started to push the bucket a bit more in that direction. And I think in a world where like that trajectory keeps improving, you'd think maybe they have a shot here in this matchup against Dukes and Sphinx. But I think they're gonna get hit by Grand Finals. Like this is still a team coming from OCE to an NA Grand Finals, their first NA Grand Finals. I think they probably get hit with a bit of a reality check come Grands.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think the thing you said about the whole, like, they were nervous going into, like, for the whole season, as you said, Grand Finals is a completely different ball game. You know, you die to Surge once, or, you know, you have to make a big play. It's a completely different thing than OC. You're like, oh, we're literally just better than everyone. We can basically just go fight someone for Surge if needs be. It's a completely different ball game, and yeah, for me, yeah, Dukes and Sphinx edge it, but I wouldn't be surprised if we did see a really good Alex and Worthy performance this weekend. If they have the confidence going into it and they perform at a level we've seen this weekend, for sure they could be in contention, right? But
yeah,
I mean,
what are you thinking, Vivid? Your face tells me there's you've got an opinion here that needs to be heard.
Gonna do the unthinkable here, and I'm actually gonna go. I'm gonna just give a shout out to Alex and Worthy here. I think that I think I'm going to give it to Alex Worthy here. I think that speaking historically, Alex and Worthy have done a great job of putting themselves in positions to just learn more about these more stacked lobbies. I mean, like making it to international events, you know, coming over to NA and practicing this season. I really do think it's only a matter of time before one of these teams just shows up and shows out in a grand finals. And there's no real, like, solid information behind this. Like, it's not like I've VOD reviewed both of these teams 100 hours each to give you a really valid opinion. I just think eventually it's going to happen. And you know what? Listen, why not happen this grand finals? I'll go ahead and give him a shot for this grand finals.
See, the thing I have that with an issue with Alex and Wood is like once you get bodied by Cease of Spawn, I think there's no coming back. You know, like we're losing the Cease of Spawn. Like, how is that happening? No disrespect to Cease, but like this is a lot of OC's best team. I think that's one of the things that might also be a thing that potentially could ruin them, right? Because like there's a lot of teams on the map that are completely contested. I mean, why not land on Alex and Worthy? If Cease beat them, why not me? You know, for example. They're also prone to making a lot of mistakes. I think I watched a lot of the grand finals last season before they moved to NA, and like they were making just dumb mistakes, which I think, like you said, when the pressure's high, if they're making those mistakes in OCE, I think they can also make the mistakes in NA. I think Jukes and Sphinx, they feel comfortable. I think Alex and Worthy are uncomfortable, and that might just be the issue for them this season.
I am also a Brawlers Battlegrounds lander, and so I will be backing Dukes and Sphinx as much as I can. So Dukes and Sphinx. Why are we putting? Why are the EU putting the NA people through? And like the one NA guy is like, actually, the OCE team might take it. What's going on? All right, Muzz and Epicwell versus Victor V and Paper.
Yeah, that's scripted.
Victor
There's
V.
no way that's
Random. This one's easy.
Who you going with, Vivid?
Oh, I'm going Victor V and Paper.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's go.
I agree. Yeah,
Let's go. Hey, I am on the Victor V and Paper hype train. I have invested so many stocks into this duo that, like, yeah.
How can you not love them? Like,
How?
Yeah.
How? Yeah. Shout out to Victor V and Paper. Rising Ages versus Tavern and TK. Rising Ages.
Rising Ages.
Moving on, Bugin Aviv versus Baka and Pars.
Booger Aviv.
Booger Aviv.
Yeah, Booger.
I see Pars and Baka in your chat a lot of the time, Harry, man. They're not going to be happy about this, broski.
Yeah, well, being contested at the Mongrel spot doesn't really give them much, and they haven't shown a lot this season, to be honest. Like, I don't think, because I remember reading one of the comments in YouTube where we're talking about NA power ranking, and someone's like, "What about Baka and Pars? They come top 10 most grand finals, right?" But
They do,
yeah, they haven't really done much this season, to be honest.
They have not.
They haven't really made that next step to be like, oh yeah, these are the real deal. They're still kind of like they're top 15, top 10 level, right? They probably will make it to globals, but Booger and Aviv are, I mean, they're just a step ahead for sure.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I can definitely see Baka and Pars making it to globals. Acorn and Cold versus G Money and Reciprocal.
Acorn and Cold.
Acorn and Cold are con now, right? At
Triple con.
Triple
cons?
By DK and
Damn.
and
Yeah.
Apparently they're console players or something. Oh no.
Yeah. But they're just Acorn.
Well, it's Acorn and Cold though. Like,
who'd forget them? Like,
I mean, G-Money Reciprocal also contested by Chance and KS Gaming apparently at the spot north, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, one spot's more 50-50, so like it's over with. You know, you don't ruin your game. The other one's a little bit more shambles. If you're gonna get conned, and people can play more cringe. I feel like Acorn and Cold they just out tier this team for sure.
Okay, that's fair. Let's go with Acorn and Cold then. Tayson and Yomzo versus Def and Edgy. Def and Edgy were getting bossed out by Mongo and Savage, man. So it's gonna have to be a Tayson and Yomzo for me, my guys. On a serious note, though, Tayson and Yomzo have just been the better team.
I mean,
this
Def
season.
and Edgy. I mean, 4-1, baby.
Never seen Boop so amped up for an off spawn battle. Clicks and Venno versus Oliver OG.
Like, who's making this list, man?
Yeah, who's go?
Shout out to my guy Oliver, man. But this is not the favorable matchup for you.
I think the funniest thing about Oliver OG is watching Aussie stream and then himself and the entire chat just being so confused as to why Oliver is still going to that drop spot.
Why?
Loves the windmills, man.
Do we know why?
On the windmills, 50-50 every game.
But do we know why? Like,
he's on con now. He's claimed it.
Yeah, I mean, he's good.
I mean,
he can have it, man.
Yeah.
Shot the 3 chests.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go back up to the top then, Quartz. Let's take a look at who's who's looking good here. All right, so Batman Booger and Rapid versus Peterbot and Poyo.
This could be a first versus second type of situation potentially.
This is
season.
similar to what happened on EU, where like on EU we had obviously Swizzy and Vanyak versus Chapentini. This is like, you know, the almost the NA equivalent of that, where you have like two of the best teams this season. But it's gonna have to be Peterbot and Poyo.
Definitely.
Yeah,
it is gonna have to be Peterbot and Poyo. Do you guys think then? Because I think Peterbot and Poyo will go through. But do you guys think Batman Booga and Rapid will do as good in Grands as sort of how they've looked all season, or are you a bit worried about them come Grands?
I mean,
So like,
you go first. You go first.
Good as in like their own individual performance, or good on the leaderboard?
Or like if you were to do, because we did obviously the power rankings last week, right? Like, and I think you voted in the power rankings, right, Vivid? Did you vote in the power rankings last week? Maybe you didn't. Either way,
No.
Batman Booga and Rapid were very high on most people's lists. They were like top 2 in most.
They were
people's
first
lists,
overall.
Right? Yeah, they were first overall, top 2 in most people's lists.
Wow.
Like,
really?
Based off of results this season, they've been one of the best teams, right? Based on results, and like a lot of people are predicting them quite highly. So I'm saying, based off of like looking at the leaderboard, do you expect them to do very good? Not by their standards, but just no. Okay, top five. Okay.
I'm surprised how like quick that was to be Peterbot and Poyo for how good of a season Batman Booger and Rapid have had. You know, I feel like I wonder if it's a similar situation to like on the EU of Vico and Flixie. Like maybe we're hyping them up too much to the point that grand finals with all the pressure on of how you've performed, it can crumble. And for a team like Peterbot and Poyo, who's already qualified globals, you know, they don't have that level of pressure. I think they are by far the most interesting, or one of the most interesting teams for me to watch, because it's very rare, especially on NA, that someone kind of breaks through all the tier ones and kind of becomes like one of the best teams in the region. And especially as you're talking about our power ranking, for us to unanimously put him all together, put him first, and then for him to already get knocked out in the second round of our bracket is crazy. I mean, I definitely think they, as you said, Vivid, top 5 for sure.
It's just that Peterbot and Poyo were looking slow at the start, and then now they've just continuously been heaping up and ramping up towards the FNtasia Grand Finals. That they're looking again like a team that's going to win FNtasia Grand Finals once more. Even though at the start it looked hopeless for them, you know, being contested now by DK and Ian. Who the hell is Ian? You know, like Peterbot and Poyo have everything going right for them.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I
think it's just a case of unlucky match. Like I'm sure people will react to the EU part where Chapentini went out super early and be the same. Like, oh my god, Chapentini, how can they go out so early? It's like it's the luck of the bracket. But Peterbot and Poyo will go through. They will go through. And Ritual versus Canada and Cooper. David, what are you thinking?
This one's actually really tough. I'm not gonna lie. It's hard to count Ritual and Reet out. Like instinctively, I want to go Canada and Cooper. But Ritual and Reet have been performing so well this year. But I'm not gonna lie, this season's been kind of up and down, I feel like, for them. Like they've shown promise here and there. But I remember talking, I think it was with Taco, and we kind of came to the conclusion that like Bryson Bolt's kind of getting the forecast tower every single game, and like all that positioning is kind of like messing with them. So I don't know. I mean, instinctively I want to go Canada and Cooper, but it's also Ritual and Reet again. Like I don't know. This could really go either way, but I do want to say Canada and Cooper.
I think I lean towards Canada and Cooper because I've watched a bit more of them, to be fair, because obviously Canada's at stream and everything. And the game looks so easy for Canada and Cooper. Because like mid and early game is just so straightforward. Like they're just guaranteed end game every time. And then it's like, we know what these guys are in end game. They're like the team that will pull fucking good results out of their asshole with like sticks and stones, you know? It's like, you know, some of the clips we've been seeing people posting on Twitter look like, you know, teaming clips of the past, you know, where you'd probably be getting banned for that kind of activity, you know? Like, it's just so easy for them to trade Cooper with like an AR and like the fucking coin with infinite ammo, just like chopping people's bases from a mile away, and there's like nothing you can do about it, and just being like really annoying. I don't know. I'm leaning more towards them in terms of like who I think would place higher, but it's Ritual and Reet at the end of the day, you know, like they're always bound to do well, but that's sort of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Canada and Cooper's game is just easy. You go to the triple cactus, you trade with any team, you get endgame every single game. And if you're making
Right.
endgame 12 out of 12, you know, Ritual and Reet will die to Surge probably 1 or 2 games. They're going to struggle a little bit more. So
Yeah.
for me, it's
The thing
Kanata and
is,
Cooper.
that Rich and Reed have gone through the same situation last season, right? In terms of spawn areas, that Bryson Bolts to the south, and then the landing Reckless. So it's the exact same situations, exact same grand finals. Not much, I think, is going to change. And you saw how good they were last season to be potentially even rivaling Peterborough and Poyo on the leaderboard. At some point, it was close. Until
True.
Oliver G ruined it all for us. So I'm actually going to go the other way. I think Richard Reed's going to outpace Kanata and Cooper, just on the base that I think Kanata and Cooper. I'm not as convinced this season compared to last season in terms of the consistency. It's felt a little bit less in this type of meta. And I think Richard Reed's highs are higher than Kanata's Cooper's highs, but the potential for lows is obviously a lot more. But I think in the format and the FNtasia Grand Finals, Richard Reed just always show up. So I think their fragging ability puts them slightly above Kanata Cooper, but I think it's close.
So where are we at right now? Was it 3 for
I think it's
Canada and
3-1.
1 for?
Yeah, 3 Kanata,
The-
Cooper.
the- so are we all locking that in though? Are we sure about that? Nobody wants to
Yeah.
change
Yeah,
now
yeah.
after Boop's monologue?
No.
Okay. All right. There we go. We'll put Canada and Cooper through. I can't lie, Boop. You almost actually swayed me there. And maybe I'll regret this when I wake up.
Hey, I'm never wrong. Remember that.
I'm never wrong.
Hey, look at last week. Power
all right,
ranking.
Yeah.
Pink and Miro versus Kylie and Vert.
Who did this bracket? All these EU civil wars. Why are we getting them all out of the way early? We need them later down the line. Is it crazy to say Kylie and Vert? Is that
A little bit.
Wow.
yeah?
So what did Pink do to you? Huh?
My thing, dude.
Yeah, what
not
did
show,
Pink
not
do to you?
not play well enough. That's it.
Damn.
Damn.
I know.
Flip that.
I mean, it's this caliber of players here. It just goes
Yeah.
further towards Pink and Miro's side. I was on the same train as you, Harry. I wasn't convinced of Pink and Miro's existence this season. It's sort of very slowly with the lack of practice and then lack of actual much placements, but they've slowly been ramping up as well. And the one thing that's putting me over the edge for Pink and Miro now is that Pink played the last game of Uppers, I think it was, on stream, and just listening to how Miro talks when he's playing with Pink, it was just like chef's kiss. Like there was no screaming, there was no Vico free loot. Like it was nice, it was calm, it was great to listen to, and like that's the type of duo that I think like there's not much that can go wrong for Pink and Miro. They'll put in a solid shift. They're not going to win FNTS, but Kylie and Vert, I think, are not the caliber of players compared to that of Pink and Miro. So Pink and Miro with consistency, calmness, great mental, I think will always beat Kylie and Vert here.
Pink and Miro's comms remind me of like prime Acorn and Edgy, where it's like you would never know they're playing like a high level compared to Fortnite game. Like it's so chill. It's it's a weird one because again I think there's a lot of pressure on Pink and Miro. One, Miro, reigning globals champion, brother. You gotta go back there. You can't not go back to globals. They're both coming off of like pretty mid grand finals, probably bad grand finals by their standards, right? So it's like there's a lot of pressure on them to one, go to globals, two, to bounce back from last season. But I believe in them, so I'm gonna put them ahead of Kylie and Vert. So Pink and Miro go through for me. Trashy and Frets versus Bryson Bolts.
Bryson Bolts, I think.
Oh man.
If they're getting forecasters consistently, it's got to be Bryson Bolts. But it depends what Reet and Rich will do.
There's no chance they get forecast, right? Me and Rich will just all for that, surely, every single game. Like, they know what's up. Like they're like it's like the bully taking the lunch money. Like they know it's gonna happen, you know? Like hide your lunch in your locker. Like they're coming for it. But like Trash and Touch have just been so mid. Like Bryson Bolts, I feel like have been pretty good.
Like one event, they've been so mid, you know.
Yeah, like
one event. I mean, from what I've seen, mid.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I mean,
those 11 games they played, how dare they?
Yeah, those 11 games they played, it was just not up to par, you know.
Bryson Bolts, I mean it's
moving through.
I need a Bryce interview at Globals again. Like that's what I need.
Yeah, we need them back at Globals for sure. Yeah, move Bryson Bolts forward. Then we got the real deal. Then we got the truth.
Oh, so we're going Bryson Bolts?
I would
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
Rice and Bolt.
Okay.
Yeah,
oh no.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
We just
cool.
talked
What
about
would you
how
go- what would
shit
you go, Evan?
trashy
What would you
vets
go,
were
Evan?
the whole time, but
Yeah, no. So I guess I don't disagree. I didn't really have a. That was a tough one. I didn't really know where to go with that one. Mongrel and Savage versus Dukes and Sphinx.
The goats, surely it has to be. I've been very un-EU biased until this point. It's gotta be Mongrel and Savage. They're actually the way they're playing this weekend. This weekend was, I mean, Mongrel is playing out of his mind. We have not seen Mongrel play like that, well, for years. It is crazy how well he's performing in this moment.
the stats don't lie. You know, first place damage from Mongrel, like it's just going all too well for them.
I'm going Mongrel and Savage, man. I'm going Mongrel. They are the real deal, man. I'm sorry, Dukes and Sphinx. I wanted to ride the Dukes and Sphinx for the Brawlers. Uncon looks good. I do genuinely think those guys will do really good. They should get to globals, I think. But Mongrel and Savage, man, I am on the hype train, man. It is fucking coming home, baby. It is coming home. It didn't come home for England in the Euros, but this one is coming home.
I'm not gonna. I would agree. I think I might be finding myself a bit of a Dukes hater here. I feel like Dukes has had a lot of hype around him, but like I just haven't seen anything to like back it up FNCS wise as of late. So I'm not gonna lie. Like I would go Mongrel, Mr. Savage here too.
I want to see what Dukes' placements have been recently because I'm not as locked into what they've been doing. But
Yeah, go ahead, check him out, bro.
let's see,
Not
let's
as good
see
as
what-
not as good. Was he first in damage like
Jesus.
Mongrel was? I don't think so. So
No.
there you go.
It's been placing more to roulette table these days, I think.
I mean, like the results aren't bad. Like the results, the results are actually kind of good, to be fair. Like they've
Are
actually.
you
been
off the hype
placing
trade?
No, I'm still on the hype train. When Mongo Savage are through, it's done. It's already done. Courts clicked it, so it's done. No going back now. Victor V and Paper versus Rise and Ages.
Easy,
Easy.
Easy, but
Easy
it
for
hurts.
who?
Yeah, I was gonna say
easy, but it hurts.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm with you. Then if you're saying easy but it hurts, then I think I'm with
Yeah.
you.
Wait, but like, is it gonna hurt the way it's gonna hurt me? The same way it's gonna hurt you?
I don't.
I don't know who
I
is
don't
I'm
know.
it?
going
the same?
Victor V and Paper.
Oh,
personally. I'm not gonna lie.
That's a different type of hurt. I
That
was on that hurt.
Yeah, that was not what I
Look,
thought you were going with.
I
there.
don't know. I don't know what Kylie and Vert are doing over there, but I'm not gonna lie. Victor V and Paper get a lot of space over by their landing spot, and they pretty much consistently get bunker, which I don't really know how that happens, but they do. And then I think Paper's actually, he looks super good as an IGL this season.
He
Like
does,
watching his VODs, like first of all, you like this season. I look at a lot of rotations this season. I'm like, wow, that's impossible. And then I forget that teams just go fizz and jump through a hoop and they're across the map.
Yeah.
And Paper is so good at just like making sure that he's always by one of those hoops that their rotations seriously seem pretty good. And then his layer selection end game, I'm basically saying all this because I just got done watching their Cash Cup where they got third place. I don't know. Paper just shows every right layer was always super good. I gotta go with them just because, you know, hey, listen, they're on the hype train right now, and I'm gonna back it up.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it as well. Get me on the Paper and Victor V hype train.
It's just
Get me on it. You've convinced me. I don't even need to say anything. You've said it all for me. That's all I
Okay,
need.
guys, I'm not with you guys here, unfortunately. I
but
am
like,
on the hype
okay. Let me
train.
get one more point. Let
Okay,
me
go
try to
on.
get into one.
Okay.
Do you know who their coach is, Levin?
Isn't it like Victor V's dad?
It's his dad, man.
Yeah.
It's his dad. Have you listened to his dad's comms? The guy knows about the game. He's like, wow, you guys don't have surge weapons. Like, you're gonna have to like box fight this game. And I'm just like, what?
Yeah, it's so good, bro. After they qualified in semis, like they turned on their stream. Victor V turned on his stream, and his dad was just there on stream, like vibing with them. And I was like, this is amazing. Like, I support this like so much. I am on the hype train. Trust me, guys. I am on the hype train.
Doesn't sound like it.
But if I'm being reasonable, Rise and Ages have consistently been better this season. They just have. And I look at Rise and Ages as players and I go, they are better players. And I look at their situation in Grand, and there's nothing that jumps out to me as like a big concern for them. It's like very simple. They have good access to rings that they can use to get wherever the hell they want on the map. Like that's one thing. Like I remember speaking to Rise earlier this season before like the whole everyone on Earth decided they wanted to sit on a cactus, and it was like he was just like running around in like 0-player creative maps, just like showing off all the different ring paths they have. And I was like, okay, this is actually going to be scary for Grands because he can literally just get anywhere on the map he wants. And they can sit on cactus and trade surge. Like in theory, Rising Ages should do very, very well this season. And they've been better this season. So I'm going to have to just go Rising Ages.
I agree. I mean, Victor V and Paper are like the cute puppy, but like Rising the Ages are like the coyote, you know? Like it's a big bad world out there. Being cute doesn't cut it. Rising Ages are bad in like a good way.
Yeah.
And like they have just so much experience together. I mean, they haven't looked as convincing as I would have expected. I think they're kind of an underperforming duo. I thought, you know, the combination of those two would be like great. But they're in a really good spot. They're mid-map. They got everything to them. So it's got to be Rising Ages. And now we're at a standstill.
It's just, yeah.
Did you like my
I
coyote
won't
analogy,
budge.
Harry?
What?
Do you like my coyote analogy? Was
I
that good
did.
enough
I
to
thought it was
convince
good.
you?
I enjoyed it. That didn't convince me, but it was
Oh.
nice. I'm more like weighing up the coaches of Raz of Rue and Victor V's dad. Who's the better coach? At the end of
Who's
this?
the better coach, Raz or Victor V's dad? I mean,
I think these two teams will be next to each other on the leaderboard.
Yeah, probably.
I can see that. Yeah.
And in the map, probably they'll be literally they'll just.
I really
sat
hope
next-
Victor V and Paper make globals, and I think they're good enough to make globals.
Right. Do we
But-
have to flip a coin? Is it the first time?
It
we've
might
actually
have to
flip
be
a-
the first. Should I do it? Should
I won't budge.
You're not
Like,
budging.
I'm not budging.
I'm not budging. I'm not budging either.
I'm
Are you
sticking.
budging?
I'm
Alright.
sticking.
Okay, well, let me do heads or tails. Let's see.
Wait, who's what?
So Victor V's heads, Rising Ages tails. Will you be able to see this?
It's heads.
It's
It's
heads.
spinning right now. It's heads.
It's heads. Victor V's through.
Come on.
Victor V's through.
Sometimes the puppy
Fuck
wins,
is
I
it?
guess. Yeah.
These
He runs away and
fuckers.
hides.
Yeah.
Booga and V versus Acorn and Cold.
I mean, are Acorn and Cold staying contested or triple contested the entire time? Because surely you can put a team triple contested above Booga and Aviv. As much as Acorn and Cold are the better team.
I actually think Acorn and Cold being triple contested or double contested or not contested at all will have a huge impact on this grand finals.
Yeah.
But I don't think they'll end up being contested, so I'm gonna go Acorn and Cold.
I mean, we've seen Queasy and Thomas get triple contested and make it out top 10 as well, right? Like the teams that contest them aren't like big teams that we're afraid of. And even if they were contested, I think Acorn and Cold are good enough to do it anyways compared to Booga and Aviv.
I instantly thought of the whole triple con thing as soon as Harry said that, of like, we can't put a team that's triple con.
Yeah.
But Mount Olympus being triple con versus Brutal Beachhead, like they play differently.
Yeah.
Like triple cons,
Sure.
which is like the only reason why I don't think I can use that excuse. It's weird because I in EU, right? Like when we were talking about like Akira and YZY and all that, like because I know the dynamics of some of those like smaller teams better, like I know it's probably likely that like a lot of those guys move and like it doesn't end up. I don't know much about Evan, Flappy, DK, and Ian, so I don't know whether those brothers are gonna move or not.
No.
Like I don't know. In theory, I don't know why they're even conning. That to me is a shock. Like I don't get the rationale there. Like we could have
Go
a
big
whole
or go home.
conversation about this, but like why con a team that is quad globals? Like what is your objective? Are you just playing Grands to play Grands, or are you playing Grands because you actually want to qualify for the global championships? And if you do, why are you conning Acorn and Cold? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me, but maybe I'm missing something here. With that being said, staying on topic of like Booga and Aviv versus Acorn and Cold, I'm just going to go off of the map, and the map is saying they're triple conned, so I'm going to go Booga and Aviv. But if they're not triple conned, I'm going Acorn and Cold.
I'd agree with that whole thing. It's,
So
the one thing
yeah.
I'd say about the whole contesting a good team is like, it's always the weird thing is, right, do you contest a good team who's at a good spot. So if you do win a spawn, even if it's 4 times, you have good loot. Or you can test a bad team at a bad spot, but you win a spawn, you're probably scuffed anyway, right? So that probably comes in. Or some of them are just griefing for the sake of griefing, right?
But like
that does
there
happen.
are, but even in that, so I agree with that point, because in that, if that's your option, then you contest a good team, especially if you feel confident.
Yeah.
But there's other spots you can con against good teams that are not called for globals.
Oh, I
that
agree.
You can get. Do you know what I mean? That's where it just doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, I guess Buganaviv will put through then in that case.
Wait, hold on. What was who voted for who?
I thought we
all agreed. Boop,
did. We
no, Vivid.
Friend code.
You're going to code. Where you going, Boop?
I said Akon and Code as well.
See,
But,
there we go.
like, the I guess I agree with the spawn dynamic being changed. Like, it's not the same as Olympus. It's. I'll go Buganaviv. I'll swap.
There we go.
I'll back down. I'll back down.
This is criminal.
No, I agree. This is criminal. Like, I am purely saying this off of the drop. Like,
Yeah.
I would put Akon and Code through. Even with them being triple conned, I want to put them through, but like, triple con brutal doesn't make sense in my head. Like,
If
I
it
don't
was
even know how
single
that
con,
works.
I would swap side. I
Yeah,
would go Akon Code Slam Dunk, no issue. But like triple con,
also-
like, yeah.
But even with that being said, I think one of those teams definitely leads, right? You don't triple con.
You know what? I'll go
Fuck it,
back.
let's
Akon
Akon, yeah, I'm
Code.
putting Akon
Akon
and Code, man. I'm putting Akon and
Sorry,
Code, man.
hold
Let's
on,
put Akon
hold
and
on.
Code.
We're talking
Let's
about the
put
fake
Akon
What
and
Booga.
Code.
We don't
just
need
happened?
Booga, you know?
Yeah, nah,
People-
come on.
Batman
This is-
Booga. I don't
this
care
is-
about this Booga.
Vivid says one sentence of "this is criminal" and everyone just loses
Hey,
their mind.
Vivid's
It's like,
got
hold on
aura,
a
man.
second.
Vivid's got
Yeah,
aura. Just 'cause
Vivid's
you
got
don't
more
Harry, you
aura,
know?
bro.
Like,
Vivid's got way more
we fuck
aura,
with Vivid
bro.
more Harry. That's it.
Yeah, come on.
I got it.
Either way, Tayson Yomzo versus Clicks and Venno. This is a
Oh,
matchup,
God.
bro. This
Here
is
we
a
go.
matchup.
Whoever made this bracket stinks, by the way. This is the EU1 cooked.
How the times change from when it was in the EU.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh my
See
god,
the way
you
they
clicked on the
switch up.
bracket. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, they always switch up, man. You can't trust them.
I'm going Tayson Yomzo.
I am also going to taste in the Umza.
that quick off the bat.
Yeah, I'm going Tayson Yomzo.
I want to go Clicks and Vita. I've said at the start. See, I just feel like to me, this is my first and probably like up there. It's like 1 and 2. I think these are generally the 2 best teams on NA. With obviously you can put Pure Poyo in the mix, but I think these are generally the 2 best teams on NA right now.
Really?
Is it because they have a European team in them?
No. Genuinely, I think Clicks and Vino. Vino, if you listen to them, it sounded like Vino wasn't trying the whole weekend. It's literally like he full tried that
I
solo
just hate
clutch
when
and
they
then
don't try, man. I just hate when
yeah,
they
but
don't
he
try.
like Clicks basically like shouted him and said like that's like why couldn't you try it this whole weekend? Like after he like solo clutch to qual them. But tasting the Yomzo, I mean, man, they're uncontested at probably one of the best landing spots in a finals lobby, and the way they've been playing, I really think they're setting up for a good season, for a good finals. Like they are surely one of the best teams there is on NA right now.
I think Clicks and Vino, and I say this in a respectful way. I think they're too hard headed to place above Taste and Yamzo. I think they're go for height or want to go for height every game. I don't think it's gonna work. And honestly, after watching some of the games this past weekend, I don't really think it's helping them all that much. And I don't think they're gonna do as good as people think they're gonna do. So I gotta go Taste and Yamzo.
Where do you think they're gonna place? If you don't think they're gonna do as well.
Like, I want to say they're not going to qual globals, honestly.
Wow.
Like, I serious. I mean, I don't know anything about them not trying this weekend, but I'm like, they looked good the first qualifier, and that is it. And after the first qualifier, I was like, okay. And I think I said this on broadcast. I was like, yeah, they won and they did so well because they were able to go for high ground, but we didn't even have, all due respect, we didn't have Peterbot and Poyo in that lobby, who are literally like, respect to them, but like Peterbot and Poyo are going to go for height, and they're probably going to be the better height team in the lobby.
Yeah.
And I think that the effect of them being in the lobby has shown ever since that first week. Not to mention, like, Clicks went on a 2-week vacation. The vibes of this duo haven't really ever seemed to be all that good. And I don't know. I just feel like they're not going to do as good as everything's going to do. I think Tasty Yamzo got it.
To put another bit of analysis on that, like the reason why I said Tasty Yamzo so quickly is that This weekend, Clicks and Venno, how they didn't win a game after some of the good teams won games is crazy to me, right? Because this is one of those formats where height was messy. There was so many height swaps in terms of like how many teams swapped high ground. Venno and Clicks' playstyle this season isn't. I disagree a little bit. I don't think they're like jumping on height and just going onto it like just to go on it. They find opportunities to go on height when teams are taking it, and then they sort of use that advantage of other teams monkeying and jumping on it to take high ground. But the fact that they weren't able to win a game when everyone's 50-50 in coin flip in high ground says a lot about how their playstyle has maybe changed or their confidence has changed. Because like that's the bread and butter, is taking high when other teams are forcing it, and then taking that advantage by having a gap from front side of zone to back side of zone. And the fact that they weren't able to do that says a lot. Like you said, the focus has been on too many different things. Clicks has a boxing thing, which I think he dropped out of now, but it's a little bit too late. Venno's been hard going in NBA 2K, like a lot. Like the focus is gone. Like at the start of the season, they were laser pointed. They were playing EU scrims from NA, and then they were playing NA scrims later on the day. They lost the passion, and I think Taze and Yumzo, they've just been locked in the whole time. They don't focus on other things but Fortnite, and I don't think that's a crazy take that they might not make globals. Like I think it's unlikely, but I see a world where like shit duds, you know, like it can go very wrong for them. I think
there's a world, but I think there's such a low chance for
Yeah, I
Clicks
think
and
it's
Venno
low
to
chance.
not like top 12.
yeah.
If there was like 8 spots, I think it'd be but there is 10 spots.
I
Like,
think they
they
scrape by.
probably will, but
Like
yeah, I
10th,
don't.
11th, maybe.
Yeah,
I'm
most
not
of
feeling-
the NA global teams are getting top 10 if we're being real.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think they should be fine. But for me, I don't think I need to give much analysis, man. Taze and Yums, I think, are the better team and more likely to place higher. I don't even think Clicks and Venno would disagree with that. I think they'd probably agree.
I think Venno says everyone's better than him going into
True,
grand finals.
Venno does do that whole like underdog gimmick where everyone's apparently better than him. But yeah,
The thing is, he would say that, but then he would listen to this podcast and be like, "They don't know what the fuck they're talking about." Like,
yeah, but
I'm so much, like,
that's all every pro does. Every
Yeah.
pro, unless we're saying they're the best team in the world or that they're the better than everyone else, we don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
No, but then we're overhyping them, so
Yeah,
yeah, no more
exactly.
glazing.
Yeah, if we said Venno will go through, he'll be like, "Oh, these guys don't know what we're talking about, man. They fucking think we're better than Taze and Yumzo." What's he on about? Peter Bon Poyo versus Canada and Cooper.
Beat about Pollo.
Yeah.
yeah.
Peter Bon Poyo.
Peter bot.
Pink and Mero versus Bryson Bolts. Just silence, like
Yeah, I mean, it's to think,
I don't even know.
right? Is it
It's almost
Bryson?
disrespectful to be silent here. I feel
Yeah.
like, you know, considering the stature of the teams. I'll say
No.
Pink and Miro, but I'm not happy about it.
I'll take
No.
Pink and Mero as well. Me and
I
Brew
was gonna say
putting this
Bryson
together,
Bolts,
man.
but they've got an EU player, so Pink
hey,
and
well,
Miro.
we're
Who needs
together,
any?
brother.
Yeah.
We got it.
What, you're going
That's
Bryson Bolts, Harry?
No, I was gonna go them, but Pink's the EU, so I've got to go Pink and Miro. There's got to be one EU player somewhere down this list because we're gonna lose them all very quick.
I know we're not losing anyone. Don't we
I don't think
worry.
we're
I see
losing. I
one
don't think we're
team.
losing
Yeah,
anyone, bro. So,
I see one team right there.
Vivid, what are you thinking?
So my instinct there was to say Bryson Bolts, but my head wouldn't let me do that. So I'm gonna go Pink and Miro too.
Yeah.
I will say, I think Pink and Miro are more likely to dud than Bryson Bolts.
Yes.
Like I think they're more
Really?
like
I like
or-
unexpected
well, not,
dud.
well, not dud. Sorry, maybe dud's not the word, but I think they're like I think Pink and Miro will place higher than them. But if you were to replay Grands like 10 times, I think it's more likely Pink and Miro place lower in like than Bryson Bolts in a lot of those.
I know what you're trying to say, but you're
simulations.
explaining this. In
No,
the
but-
Yeah, I'm
basically
saying
what
this
you're saying
badly.
is-
You're
Yeah.
saying they have a higher ceiling but a lower.
Yeah. Like I
Yeah.
think that the range of placements for Pink and Miro is like much wider than like I feel like
Okay.
Bryson Bolts, like I'm expecting them to probably
8 to
like
12.
Like
Yeah,
Bryson Bolts
like-
are basically like they're guaranteed to be like top 12 every single time, but Miro and Pink can either be top 5 or like top 20 in a random
right,
spot, you know?
right, exactly.
Which is weird analysis, but I agree with you.
Right.
Exactly.
Mongo and Savage versus Victor V and Paper.
Oh, one of the hype.
This is the
trains
big
so
bad
far.
wolf.
This-
One
this-
the coyote.
This is where the fucking hype
This
trains
is what-
collide.
This is the same
This is
round that
crazy.
Dexy and Eclipse and Nathan and CCB were. This is the exact same place. It's literally.
I mean, I'm not getting off of either train, so I think the bracket just has to end here.
Yeah, I think we're gonna end the podcast, right?
I'm literally not picking, so
Oh.
you guys
Hold
have
on,
to
didn't
decide.
you
I'm
vote
not
for
picking.
Rise and Ages? Hold
I'm
on,
not
hold
picking.
on, hold on.
I'm sorry, I'm not picking.
I'm picking Mongo Savage, the big bad wolf, Victor and Paper. The puppy's gone. Puppy's
Yeah,
dead.
Mongrel and Savage, get them there, get them to globals.
Get me on the hype train, man.
I generally thought when they moved to N8, there was a 0% chance they could
Oh,
go
yeah.
to globals.
Yeah,
Like,
I thought it was over for them.
Like, I generally thought this was a nice, like, last dance, and we will remember this for the good times. And actually, they're going into this as one of the better teams.
1 week of like decent performances, and we're all just sat here going Mongo and Savage calling.
Yeah,
globals, man.
yeah,
It's
Because
just
we
been
wanted
1
it to
week of,
happen.
like,
We wanted it to
decent
happen,
performances.
man.
It's taken 1 year, but we
Oh,
finally see
man.
Mongrel perform like a player of the same caliber of Savage. You know, it's
Oh,
crazy.
man.
I mean, the second I saw him ADSing on Death and Edgy, I was like, oh my god, Stark season, he's back.
He's
Like,
back.
That's all I needed. Like, I got flashbacks. I got literal chills, man. Literal
Vivid,
chills.
Just
are
had
you,
to call
are you
them
with these
washies.
guys?
No, this is Victor V and people. But I do think that Mr. Seven and Mongrel will call it globals. I just think
Yeah.
Victor V and Paper will place higher.
I'm gonna go Victor V and Paper placing higher as well.
did
Unfortunately,
I'm going Mongrel Savage. I'm not getting this is the
so
hype
is
train.
this
I
going back
cannot
to
go.
coin flip?
Coin flip, baby.
Coin
It's
flip.
going back to coin flip then.
Mongrel.
All right.
Listen, Victor V and Paper won. This is the prophecy. This is the second coin flip they're going to win in a row.
Yeah.
If they win this one, you cannot deny them.
Okay.
I'll tell them to beat Akon.
Wait, who's heads, who's tails?
Yeah, pick one. Whose heads?
Heads, Mongo Savage, tails, Victor V Paper.
Okay. Let's see. Is it gonna
cannot see
focus
that.
on?
I
Okay.
cannot
Yeah.
see that at all.
Just lie for us. Say it's Mongo Savage.
Yes,
I
yes,
think
Mongrel.
that's is that tails?
Is that what is that, Levin?
Let me try to see if my camera will focus in. If I like, I'm now messing up.
Now we're both bluey.
Oh my.
Oh,
It's
That's-
not, it is tails though. It is. You gotta believe me. It is.
Hey, no wonder-
Boom.
Oh, yeah, you can see it there. You
Yeah,
can see it
it's
there.
like
It's
it's
tails.
tails.
oh
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
god.
So what? Paper one again?
Paper one
Yeah.
again.
Wow.
Mongrel
Fate
did
says
not
it now.
deserve this.
Wow.
He did not get first in damage for this.
Listen, Al Gaib. Acorn and Cold versus Tayson and Yomzo.
Here we go.
In triple con
Is this-
versus uncon.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Or
I don't know
double
if
con.
this
We,
is a
we
here
put
we
them
go.
through. We put them through
Okay,
on the
double
presumption
con,
they'll
yeah.
be double con. So let's keep that trend.
Then still Tayson and Yomzo. Surely. Tayson and Yomzo, uncontested Cammy split, insanely consistent playstyle, insanely consistent game plan in comparison to contested Brutal Beachhead. I mean, and they're probably the same caliber of team, like the same skill level. So, but I mean, if Acorn and Cold are uncon, I mean that becomes a very interesting conversation.
I want to hear what Vivid has to say. I have my thoughts on this.
I mean, when we last talked about them, I said that I don't think they'll end up being triple cont. I'm gonna go Acorn and Gold here. I just believe. I'm a big fan.
The believer.
I'm
They're
just a
great
big
guys.
fan.
Yeah.
So
where you
I
go?
actually think, I'll take the moment right now to talk about this. I think if Acorn and Cold are in every single end game, it hurts Taste and Yumzo a lot because they fight for the same positions. And I'm just gonna be straightforward. I think Acorn and Cold are way better at fighting for those low ground positions. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just a believer. I don't think they'll end up being contested, and if they are, I think they'll figure something out. They're just too good.
They are very good. Levin, where's your head at? Well, what are you thinking? You're deep in thought.
So, this is fucked. This is so fucked. I feel so strongly towards Tayson and Yomzo's claim this season in that I think that they have been a top 3 team in terms of what I've consistently what I've seen from them, like the level of play. Like, I think they've been a top 3 team. They've been one of the 3 best teams, I think. Acorn and Cold, though, like, come grand finals, you just expect a top 5 minimum every single time. And, like, for the most part, they've delivered on that for, like, the past 2 years, it feels like. Yomzo's consistently been, like, a top 10 grands player. There's been a couple of instances where, you know, they've even been close to winning, you would have said. And I think with Tayson, he's better now. I think they're better now. I think the situation for them with where they're landing is so good. Like, they've spent so much time like scrimming and working and, sharing strats with Seti and Cammy as well has been a big factor for them that I think will help come grands, right? But Acorn and Cold are Acorn and Cold. So who do I think is more likely to place higher? It feels wrong to say not Acorn and Cold. But Tayson and Yomzo have impressed me more this season. But my mind is telling me Acorn and Cold. I'm like, it's like a tennis match. I'm like flipping. Like I don't like.
I've never seen you flip flop so much.
No, honestly, I'm genuinely. I don't
it's
know.
It's the heart versus the mind.
Really, it is the heart versus the mind.
Would it help if I give you mine first?
What's yours?
I'm saying Acorn Cold.
Oh,
I'm saying Acorn Cold. And it pains me to say.
Get rid of the EU flag boot. I know you got it back there. Get rid of it. I don't need.
I just Acorn and Cold's form has been really good, especially in that upper bracket games. Like they looked so good. And Tayson Yomzo, I think we haven't seen Tayson Magic in a very long time, and we're starting to see sprinkles of it. But I still think there's that small chip on Tayson's shoulder, the 15th, the 15th, the 15th. Yeah. I don't think we can go straight from 15th, 15th, 15th into like top 2 or top 3. Yeah. And I think Acorn and Cold are placed in top 2 and top 3.
Yeah, that you know what? That's I think that's fair. I think that's fair. No, I think that's really fair.
I can't believe it. I thought we get one NA gone, so we get the 3v1.
I'm not EU biased. I'm just a man with an opinion, Like I just think what I think.
Disbelief. I cannot.
Yeah, we'll put Acorn and Cold through quartz. We'll put Acorn and Cold through. That one kind of hurts me, but we'll put Acorn and Cold.
It's just Vivid. Vivid is such a way of words, It just convinces us.
He does. Acorn and Cold. Listen. Well, I'm not gonna lie. I think this FNCS is coming down to like day 2, 12th game. Peterbot Poyo versus Acorn and Cold. They're like 20 points apart. Like that's my vision for this FNCS. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm sticking to that. So.
That's the script they sent you already.
Early
release. Yeah.
Click this and just wait till game 12. Just so we know already, it's scripted.
Peterbot and Poyo versus Pink and Miro.
Peterbot Poyo.
Keep it rolling, baby.
Peterbot and Poyo. Acorn and Cold versus Victor V and Paper.
Come on, Vivid. You can't shake from Victor V now.
Come on, man. You gotta stay on the hype train, Vivid. Come on.
I for sure can. Acorn and Cold.
I don't disagree with that.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Don't disappoint me though, Victor V and Paper. Like I've got. Yes.
And so the question then becomes: Peterbot and Poyo versus Acorn and Cold.
I think just off the basis of spawn situations, I feel like we're getting kind of a repeat of Grimgate. A little bit less obvious, but like Infinite Surge Medallion, the best AO in the game. When Veno says he literally can't take height against Peterbot and Poyo because they have a broken-ass weapon, I believe him, even though he loves to sandbag sometimes. I think their spot is just too good, and they're uncontested. Acorn and Cold have more issues than Peterbot and Poyo have issues currently. I think slam dunk Peterbot Poyo.
Yeah. I've got to say, I have a lot of respect for Peterbot and Poyo after watching semifinals, and the reason is that I feel like a lot of people look at Peterbot and Poyo and they see a giant ego. I would agree with that. Like they know that they're good, and after like Grimgate season, like that was a whole season of them just being able to go for high ground whenever they wanted, and it was just like everybody was like, "Oh, these guys are getting carried by the medallion," right? But coming to this season, again, they're just going for high ground. A couple of questions with them not qualifying for qualifier 1 round 4. Then the crash pads got added in that 3-week break, and the way they approached high ground in semifinals was completely different. They were not going for high ground at the start, like 9th, 10th zone. They were actually waiting very consistent, like even dropping down to low ground, mid ground, like playing those layers, and then crash padding up during 11th zone. And I'm not gonna lie, I have a lot of respect for that because in my mind, I'm like, oh, these guys are egotistical. They're just going to go for high ground because they think that they're better than everybody. But then there's like, no, they've come up with a strategy. And I just have a lot of respect for that. And I think because they have proven just with that simple thing to me that they are more strategic than a lot of people give them credit for, I think they're going to win back-to-back grand finals.
I will say, we basically have come to the exact same conclusions in EU. there's NA, where we just think the team that won last grands was so good and they've looked good this season, so they're gonna win again. And I'm at that same point, and I'm picking Purebro and Poyo. I think they win back to back.
Is Fortnite ever that simple?
It's
basically
not,
the same-
which
it's
is
the
why I
same
know
meta,
we're
though.
wrong.
That's the thing. It's basically the same meta last season, this season. It feels like very similar.
I think, based off of the fact that Fortnite is never that simple, Harry, I know this is going to be very wrong, but it feels so right. And so Peterborough and Poyo are my champions for this NA bracket.
I'm waiting for the Harry to change up real quick. Why they don't make it to global somehow, even after qualifying globals.
Peterborough and Poyo, I'm fine. My winner's already out, so I Peterborough and Poyo.
Your winner's already out. Who's your winner? Mongrel Savage?
No, Taste and Yomzo.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, Taste and Yomzo. I think Taste and Yomzo win. I think from Cammy Split, I think that landing spot's way too good. I think it's so easy to play.
Compared to Redline Rig?
No, but I still think like the Cammy Split is just like so good. I mean, I know Redline Rig is insane, obviously, and it is the better spot in general, obviously with the AR, but I don't think it's as straightforward as just literally having 3 teams around you that you can just trade surge with very consistently. And I don't know. I would still go Yomzo and Tayson, but Peterborough and Poyo obviously like second. Or second or third, yeah.
I'm just looking at the map, man. I'm like, there's no way. I'm getting
What are
my
you
own
gonna
head
say?
now. I just feel like there's no way Tayson and Yomzo don't make every single end game. And there's
That's
no
what I'm
way in a
saying.
world where they don't make every single end game, they don't top 5. Whereas Acorn and Code being cons, there is a world where they don't top 5. Like they maybe get like a 7th or an 8th or something, you know?
Well, don't talk to me about it. It's fine. We all got swindled by Vivid. He came on.
Look at him. He comes on with his nice little smile, his
man.
American smile. He charms everyone. You know, I'm sick of this guy, man. Let's end it.
Boop, I better get a video of you burning your EU flag because that's a poor.
I mean, the problem now becomes, now that we have these predictions, does that mean that NA is actually better than EU?
No.
You guys think so?
No.
So,
I think NA Grand Finals will be better than EU Grand
Oh,
Finals.
100%. I agree with that.
I agree with that. Don't worry.
I don't think anyone's
talking
that
about
delusional.
player-wise, you know, like.
I mean,
Are we getting to that point right now?
There's 22
think
grand final winners in NA, which is crazy.
Upper echelon of players on NA right now is definitely higher than that on EU, but probably still the general population is way better.
Yeah.
We still got Swizzy Vanya, though. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, we'll
Who's
hold on
better,
to
Swizzy
Swizzy
Vanya
for
or Peterborough Poyo?
Let's focus and let's wait for global championships before we come to that conclusion. You said something there, and I don't want it to go under the rug there, Harry. 22 grand finalists, 22 players playing in the NA grand finals have won an FNCS before.
That's insane.
Almost a quarter of the lobby are FNCS winners and FNCS caliber players. That is gonna alone. That makes NA so interesting. There's been some cool storylines and things cooked up. NA is gonna be so much more fun to watch. And hopefully when we come back next week, we can look at our brackets and they weren't totally wrong. That is my hope. But yeah, any more grand finals thoughts before we leave the people to,
let's just hope both regions are fun. Let's just hope we get 12 games on each region, which the mid game isn't too boring with all the cacti.
I mean, me personally, I'm looking forward to the Dexy versus CZB Nathan battle. You
yeah,
know?
that is the battle.
That's much better than the Corden Acorn versus Peterborough and Poyo and Tayson Yomzo. Like, come on.
Nobody cares about those fucking casuals. Vivid, thank you for joining us, man. Any last grand final thoughts? Any bold predictions?
I can't believe we're here. No, I think I've got everything out there. I'm looking over here at the drop map, looking around. I mean,
you got a triple con team to the Titans final.
No, bro, they're not going to be con. I don't think they're going to be con. Again, I don't think they're going to be con.
That is one thing. Our bracket could look very poor form if they are just triple con for all 12 games. Then we'd kind of look stupid. But again, we don't think we're going to be triple con. There's just no way.
And make sure you guys pay Death and Edgy very well. Make sure they don't con Mongrel and Mr. Savage.
Oh, they don't need to be paid. They already got paid. They got
terrified.
Straight to the face.
No, they got bitched off. They ain't got to pay them. All right,
five knuckle, whatever.
5 knuckle shuffle.
Yeah, 5 knuckle
just know
shuffle.
WWE.
They got a dose of reality real quick. You know?
Big taste of it.
It was rough.
Well, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the podcast. We will be back next week reacting to grand finals and everything that's taken place there. We might even have some updated power rankings for you guys as well. We'll see. We'll cook up something. But yeah, this ep was just fully focused on grands. Let us know your grand finals predictions. Who do you think is going to do well? Who do you think is not going to do well? Any surprise players who will do well? Any people who you think everybody's rating highly that will dud? Just let us know in the comment section below. And yeah, we appreciate you all hanging out. Peace. See ya.
Peace out.